Hello and welcome to another See You Next Thursday. Gosh, it's only been a week off and I'd forgotten what it was called then. Sorry, apologies for last week. I was moving house and I had no internet connection for days. It's not the easiest thing to set up here because they don't like foreigners doing anything. You can't put it in your own name, anything. So you have to beg someone to let you use their name to set anything up. But anyway, so I'm afraid it's just me and Sport Billy today. Me being Ed001 and Sport Billy today, as everybody else seems to be busy. Abid's out in New York, or he's probably shopping, knowing him, or getting his nails done or something.
Buying a skate, probably buying a skate in New York.
To follow Lewis Hamilton's, not Lewis Hamilton. Who was it? He said the thing in. Brad Pitt, wasn't he? He said he wants to be like he thinks he's Brad Pitt now, so he thinks wearing a dress will make him like Brad Pitt. I don't know where Seamus is, hiding somewhere, no doubt. And Rob's probably asleep, because, like, let's face it, he does that anyway. He might as well have just stuck his mic next to him while he slept, because that's what he does when he's here. So it's just me and Sport Billy, and today we're just gonna preview the season for you. Not gonna, there's a bit of news, but there's nothing really to get your teeth into with the news, and that is there at the moment. So apart from there's the Barcelona stuff, obviously, to discuss. We could do that at the end if we've got time. The insanity there is just, how do you do that? How do you talk about that? So we'll just start with the Premier League. We're just going to go to team by team and basically preview how we think we'll do. So we'll start off with Arsenal. Billy, they've signed Gabriel Jesus, Fabio Vieira, Matt Turner, who's a goalkeeper from America. He's 28 as well, so he's not a young lad. Marquinhos, who's a young Brazilian. Brought back Saliba, Guendouzi. He sold it, but then sold him, didn't they? So sold
Guendouzi.
Sorry, where are we? Hector Bellerin was the one I meant to say. Sorry, brought back Saliba, Bellerin. If anybody's doing the Saliba drinking game, where every time I mention the word, and mention his name, they're having a shot. You've already had a few, so you're going to be half cut, whoever that was. I can't remember who it was that was doing that. Mavropanos has come back from his loan. Maitland-Niles is back. Oh no, Mavropanos got sold as well. Guendouzi and Mavropanos. Lacazette and Trustees, the one that went out on loan. That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah, Lacazette's been released, but they brought back Reece Nelson, Pablo Mari, and Alex Runarsson, though I can't see any of them really making much of an impression on the team. So, do you think they bought well, Bill?
Well, they bought. How well it is going to take time to adjust. Gabriel Jesus, never been his biggest fan at City, to be honest with you. But he seems to have got off to a good start pre-season with Arsenal. I think he will score goals. I don't think he'll score as many goals as he did with City, because I don't think the service is going to be as good for him. But they're certainly trying their best. They invested a lot of money. Where they've got this money from, I'm not sure. How much they've had to borrow to get it. But they do seem to be having a go. How it turns out is another thing. I don't think they bought the greatest players. I think Saliba coming back is a big plus for them. And, I think the Arsenal fans will be quite buoyant about the chances of maybe breaking into the top four next year. Whether they do is another thing.
Yeah, because they were saying they expect Jesus to score more goals than Nunes.
And I can't say it, but I think he's a decent player. Don't get me wrong. He's a good forward. I don't think he's the type that's going to win you leagues or get you into the European competitions with what he's got round him. I think he needs players round him, and I don't think they've got the quality quite there at the moment. I hope he does well. I think he's a nice guy. he spoke very well about Pep, how he had respect for him and how Pep had respect for him. And, he comes across as a nice guy. So I like to see nice guys doing well. And hopefully he'll have a good season and scores goals. So.
So you're rating? I don't think he's a very good player, to be honest.
No, that's what I was saying before. I don't think he's the greatest of players.
Yeah, he's one of those. He's one of those. He should be a what do you call it? A freestyle footballer, because he's got a great technique and that, but he's just not a good player.
Yeah, he's more of a false nine for me. I don't think he's an out-and-out goal scorer, but he does put himself about and he does create chances as well as score them. So I think he'll do okay. I'm not saying he's going to, light the world up, but I think he'll do okay for them, and I think he will score goals. But I think they need someone around him, a goal scorer around him, for me. But who that's going to be, Nketiah, I don't think so, but we'll have to see on
that. Yeah, I'm not convinced at all. I mean, Fabio Vieira just seemed like another one they've already got loads of. Matt Turner, I mean, he's 28 years old. He's American. I don't see him as, he's not been a standout or anything, so I don't understand that signing. For me, the key is can they keep Saliba happy and build around him? I mean, Arteta's managed to piss him off so much, but they're like, he wants to go. Gabriel wants to go. Wow, their agents are hawking him around. You'd assume on their instructions anyway.
Yeah. I think they bought more quantity than quality. That's my problem with Arsenal. And whether that works out for them, I doubt at the moment. I very much doubt it at the moment. But you never know. Some players fit into a team and fit into a system, and it can work out for you. And let's hope that does with Arsenal, and they do challenge. They are a massive club. And they deserve to be challenging for the top four, for me. I think they're a great club, but I don't know about the quality of the signings. But, that'll come to fruition or not, as the case may be. I think we'll know after 10, 12, maybe 12 games how good Arsenal are going to be.
Yeah, I'm just not convinced they've addressed the issues they've got. I think they've bought badly. Who were they about to sign? I thought they were looking at a left back, but I can't remember who it was. Can you remember?
No, I can't remember who it was.
Zinchenko, of course. They're about to sign Zinchenko.
Oh, of course, yes. Sorry, Zinchenko. Yeah, they're after him, yeah.
That's it. But
I don't know. But
he doesn't want to play at left
looks
back.
So that could be on the cards as well.
Yeah, that's done. That's all. That's the deal's done. It's just waiting for him to sign off, I believe. As far as I'm aware, he's literally just to go. But looks like they're bringing in Paqueta as well, Lucas Paqueta from Lyonnais, another attacking midfielder. I mean, how many bloody attacking midfielders do you need?
I think you get that with managers who are midfielders. He tends to buy a lot of midfielders, and it looks like Arsenal are doing that in spades. But it's, as I say, my biggest issue is the quality of them. There's enough of them. It's the quality of them.
Arteta, personally. I mean, Lucas Torreira, it's just never. He just doesn't seem to give players a chance. He either likes them or he doesn't.
No.
He seems to have a really poor attitude to man management. He doesn't want to. You know what I mean? It's either it's you're done or not. I mean, that's fine if you've won everything as a manager and you can then tell players do as you're told or else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then they'll listen to you because they believe in you and you've got their respect. But he hasn't achieved anything, so he needs to work with the players and get them to buy into what he wants to do.
Yeah, I agree with that. I see him as a fledgling manager because he's only young in management terms up to now, and so. But I think Arsenal are giving him the tools that he wants. He's obviously had some input into these players that are coming, and I think this could be last chance saloon for Arteta. I think they've invested money And if he doesn't get them in the Champions League, I can see him going at the end of the season. That would be my thing with that Arsenal.
I can't see how they can continue to support him when he's fought so badly and upset so many. I mean, the thing is, he's chased off almost all the players. That's why their squad looks really weak.
Yeah.
And he doesn't seem to have. There's no turning of. You know what I mean? There's no changing of his mind. There's no compromise with him. It's either he doesn't look at players and say, you know what, he didn't look good first time. I'll give him a second go just to have a look at him. You know what I mean? Even in pre-season, he just doesn't. He just sort of like says, yeah, no, you didn't win. One look and that's it. That's your chat. If you blow it, you're done. But one look could be a fluke if they have a good performance.
Yeah.
Or it
as I say, I think. Go on.
I was going to say, or a one-off bad performance. You have to give people a chance.
Yeah, or a one-off good performance, and he's keeping them in, But
exactly.
But I think it could be last chance saloon for him. I think if he doesn't get them Champions League, I think they might look to change him at the end of the season. I hope he does well. I really do, but I don't know. He still seems a bit, wishy-washy to me as a manager, and I don't think he's got the greatest set of ideas or plan to take the club forward. I think it's all come day, go day with him. I'll try him. No, I'll try him. There's no actual thought that goes into, I'm going to do this, I'm going to build my team around him, he's going to be my key man, I'm going to bring someone in who's going to complement him, and I don't think it's working at the moment, but it doesn't mean it won't.
Yeah, you do look at their team and you think they desperately need a defensive midfielder to allow Partey a bit more freedom. They've got Lucas Torreira. He won't give him a chance. They were struggling at the back. He didn't even try Saliba. He just sent him out on loan twice and brought in. I just can't see what he's doing this season is any different. I mean, he's bringing in Zinchenko, so I think is the one player that I think makes sense for them. Purely because he can cover midfield and left back. But the problem is, obviously, because Kieran Tierney, there's no way he's going to play many games this season. He's just always injured. It's a shame.
He is always injured, yeah.
He's not as good as people make out anyway. I don't think he's this world-class left back that I keep hearing about. I don't think he's that special. I think he's very, very good. But I don't think he's like that. I mean, you hear them talking and you think he's the best player in the world sometimes. It's like, he's just not. But
I don't think with his injury record that you can say he's going to be a really good player. He's not on the field long enough.
No,
he's got to have one way you can say he's playing well, but he's in and out the side. He seems to be injured more than he's playing, and that's no good to any team, really.
Yeah, exactly. You just can't. You cannot base your team around him, so you've got to replace him. He should be out on his way out, but they'll bring in Zinchenko. They need to bring in another left back. I know they're looking at this because you just can't rely on him.
No.
But
do you think Zinchenko would move into midfield for Arsenal if Tierney is available?
Well, Zinchenko wants to play in midfield. He's always said that. He's never wanted to play at left back. He was just used as cover, and that was one of the issues he's had at Man City, is that he never wanted to play there. And then they sent him out on loan, and he ended up stuck at left back again, and he was really not happy with that. That's why he stayed there last season. He didn't go out on loan again last season, because he didn't want to be stuck at left back again. He just didn't see the point. He wants to play in midfield, but he's not going to get he wasn't going to get a chance there. Maybe, just maybe, they'll give him a chance here, but I think he's going to end up covering Tierney, and so it's just going to be more of the same for him, and he's just going to end up annoyed again, or he's going to have to learn.
And where do you see Arsenal finishing, Tris? Where do you see them finish?
Right now, they don't look to be good enough to be. Obviously, you look at it and you'd have to say City and Liverpool look a step ahead of everyone else, right?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
You can't really. I mean, you can't see anything other than unless they have real bad injury problems, whatever. you can't see anybody else. You can't see anybody else challenging for the Premier League. It's between those.
For the top
two.
two, no, the top two's finished. Yeah, top two's finished. There's only 2 teams who can finish in the top 2. Then you've got another tier, which is the Champions League qualifiers: Chelsea, Spurs, Arsenal, and then you've got the fringe.
The only reason they might stand a chance is if Conte implodes because it's not working out right. They might finish above Spurs then. Chelsea, because they're in a mess because of the takeover and that, and they're not sorted, so they might stand up. But in actuality, I don't think they're actually anywhere near either of those sides. But obviously they're a bit of a mess at the moment.
Yeah.
Conte stayed for a year. Maybe he's ready to build there something. So maybe he'll be okay. But if he has one of his temp tantrums there, then which can happen at any time, that's them.
Yeah, it can. Yeah.
That's the thing. But otherwise, you can't see. In actual terms of manager and playing squad, you can't see them finishing any higher than 5th at best, really.
Yeah, at the moment, yeah. I'd say things change in football. As you say, Conte could be a problem. Tottenham have spent a lot of money as well, and they put all their eggs in one basket. But if the manager goes, which he could do at any time, Conte, he's that type of guy, you could see where they might falter as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem. It's not so much how well, I don't see it as being that I can see Mikel Arteta leading Arsenal to a top 3 finish. It'll just come down to whether the other teams around them implode and let them in, rather than. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, I just don't think he's good, and I don't think they're good enough with the team they've got out, which is a shame because they're they've spent a lot of money and they just don't seem to have moved forward at all with what they bought. I mean, Gabriel Jesus, is he any different from Lacazette? I don't see any difference between him. Works hard, nice technique, doesn't score enough goals.
Yeah, I think that is a problem. I'm still undecided on Nketiah, I think the boy's got skill. I think he's talented, but I don't know whether his attitude's great is the problem for me with Nketiah. He seems to miss out on games, not give his all at times, and looks a bit moody to me. But I think the guy's got talent. Whether he's going to come to fruition and become that centre forward that I think he could be, I don't know. But I'd like to think that, he'd do well. And with Jesus round him, I think he could score goals, but I wouldn't put money on him.
Yeah, I can't see him scoring many. I just don't see him as good enough, and I don't particularly rate Nketiah. I don't think he's that good. He'll score goals, but he's just a terrible footballer for me.
Yeah, I'm giving him the benefits of doubt. He's only young, and he could come good, Nketiah.
Yeah, he could do. I fully agree, and I hope he does because he seems like a nice lad. But will he? I have my doubts. I'm just not convinced he's good enough. Having watched him play for Leeds and Arsenal, but then he's still young enough to develop into a great footballer. So,
Yeah, but has Arteta got the coaching skills to actually bring him on as a better player? Be another factor there which could go against him. But I'm saying 4, 5, or 6 for Arsenal. Possible 4, probable 5 or 6. It'd be their finishing position for me, anyway.
I agree with you. I think that's the most likely. I can't see them doing. But yeah, they're not going to get. They shouldn't hit relegation trouble or anything.
No.
But I just don't see. It's not a great side. It's not they've not got a great manager to get to pull more out of them than they've got. They don't seem to have filled in any of the gaps in their squad at all. They just seem to have brought much. They just seem to have increased numbers rather than brought
I agree with
the
that,
players they need, other than Zinchenko, and that's it.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't see that there's an actual quality improvement in what they've brought in. It just seems like much more of the same. So, yeah, I just can't see where you go from here with them. I mean, I think for me, it depends on whether Arteta gives. Sorry, whoever's doing the Saliba drinking game is going to have another shot. To me, it just comes down to whether he sucks it up and admits he was wrong over him and gives him and lets him be lets him be the man, centre back, and builds around him. If he does, I think they'll be a much different proposition, and they're massively improved because he's a much better player than any defender they've had at the club before for a long time. He's an excellent player. If he sticks with what he's been going with, then I just don't see any improvement in what they've brought in. They're certainly not bought.
That's to say, he's only a fledgling manager, Arteta, at the moment. He's only had one full season, and I think that they're hoping he'll come good. I think it's a bit early to actually say that he's not going to be good for Arsenal. The signs aren't great, I must admit. I must be with you on that one. But maybe things could change and he could bring them, a bit of success. Because I'd like to see Arsenal do well. I think they're a massive club, and I like them as a club. And I just hope that that some of these signings pay off. If they don't, I think he could be one of the managers in trouble.
Yeah, I certainly can't. I can't see how they can keep backing him when they've given him so much money to spend, and they've basically they've not moved forward at all, have they?
Not at the moment. Not at the moment. Right, who's next, Chris? Aston Villa, is it?
Yes, Villa, mate. So right, this time I'll do the outs first because then I can keep track of who's got. Matt Targett's gone to Newcastle. Trezeguet's gone to Trabzonspor. Kalanic's gone to Hajduk Split. Conor Hourihane's off to Derby, and but they've brought in Diego Carlos, the defender. They've brought in Philip Coutinho on a permanent deal and Robin Olsen on a permanent deal. Ludwig Augustinsson has joined on loan. Boubacar Kamara is coming on a free transfer from Marseille. El Ghazi's back from Everton loan, so that's a big one. And Gilbert's back, the right back, back from loan.
All right.
Is Wesley back? No, it's the end of the year. He comes back, Wesley. End of December, so he comes back for the new year. The Brazilian forward that never seemed to really hit, but he never really seemed to get going. But he didn't look like
where do you see Villa's position at the moment, Tris? Yeah. Where do you see them, Tris? Where do you see Villa at the present time? Do you think the manager's good enough at the moment?
No, I'm not impressed by him. He seems to make too many mistakes, doesn't he? You know what I mean? Doesn't seem to have that little bit of nous needed, to change it up when needed. Do you know what I mean? Like, if somebody's getting the better of him, he doesn't seem to have the knowledge to change it.
No. He's a very emotional manager for me. Yeah, he doesn't think with his brain; he thinks with his heart. He seems to love a certain type of player as well, as we were saying about Arteta with the midfield. He's another one for me who doesn't seem to be able to set a side up to win. They're nice enough on the eye. You've got a couple of good players, a few good players. Coutinho, I like the centre forward. Good young lad. But I don't think he's going to move them up or down. I don't think they're going to improve under Gerrard. And I'm not saying that because of the Maratoni. I just don't think Gerrard's the right managerial type for top flight football. I think he'll do okay. I think he's a football man. But I don't know whether he's got the wherewithal to be a really good manager. I think he makes too many mistakes for me.
He's got the passion and the intensity, but he definitely needs help. Number two.
Yeah,
tactically, a really clever tactical manager. alongside him to help him, to guide him, because that's what he's lacking. Doesn't seem to have that, the right man alongside him, unfortunately. I mean, Michael Beale, fantastic coach who was alongside him, but a great coach isn't necessarily, how can I say, isn't necessarily a good tactician, is what I was trying to say. You need someone alongside you who's, who's not going to, who's going to be calm.
And great players don't always make the best managers, do they?
No, and Gerrard's the type of person he is. Like I say, he's got that passion and intensity. He always wanted more in training when he was at Liverpool. But I think that was part of his problem, is that it's not brains with him, it's not thought, it's heart. And that's fine in the lower leagues, because you could get you can get the players hyped up and playing. But I think, at the top flight, the difference is a manager's tactical nous tends to be the main difference between a team that wins things and a team that doesn't.
Yeah, I think he's, I think he's going to do okay, but no better than that. I don't see him as someone who's going to get Villa into the top 6 or 7, which is obviously, he spent a lot of money as well. It'll probably be their aim. I don't think he's got the wherewithal to actually bring them to a top 7 or 8 club. I think they'll always be, under Gerrard, a mid-table team. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. Nothing wrong with that. But if their aspirations are any higher than that, I think they'd have to get another man in.
But didn't
either to help him. Go on.
I was going to say, but they bought the best left back in the world last season, so you think that would.
He did actually. He was the best left back in the world, but he's not no more. He's not in the top 29 now.
Oh, God bless you. I don't think he ever was.
He's ruined him.
I don't think he ever was. He's been decent with Villa a lot of the games.
He's okay, yeah.
Just don't think he's
quite
as good as you believed.
But I think, getting back to Villa's problems, I think they're lacking defensively as well. The lad who plays for England at the back, what's his name, Tyrone Mings, I don't think he's good enough to be top level centre half. Makes too many mistakes, positionally awful, and seems as I keep saying, this seems a nice guy. Comes across great in the press and on the telly, and talks really well. But as a footballer, very Harry Maguire-ish for me. He's slow, makes errors, and I think when you look back to the Arsenal side, you had like Steve Bold, Tony Adams, and they weren't the greatest footballers, but what they had was positional sense, and they were good, good out and out everyday player. Then Tyrone Mings isn't in that thing. He can have a good game. He can come forward with the ball as well, but he can't sustain that. He has too many bad games, and I think that's like that with a lot of Villa players. They can look great against the side. When they beat Liverpool, what was it, 6-1, 5-1, whatever it was, and they look great. And then the next time they'll go out against a Sheffield United and get beat 2-0, that type of team, then they've got no consistency whatsoever for me.
I think Ming's problem is, he's admitted himself he struggles mentally. You know what I mean? And I think his problem is that it's like the same as Gerrard. He's too emotional. So he allows things to get to him. And when he makes a mistake, he falls. Rather than just, okay, I made a mistake, get on with it.
It affects him,
Yeah, it affects him. Rather than, when he needs to just forget it and get on with it. Everyone makes mistakes, you know what I mean? Whereas it really bothers him. It seems to prey on his mind, and he just and when he's having a good game, it's like his game. You know, if he's having a good game, he just gets better and better until he makes a mistake, and then he falls apart again. And you're thinking, you know, if you could just get a level with him, it'd be fine. If he could just be consistent, he might be all right. But
yeah.
it's that inconsistency that's a problem, and you can't afford it when you're a club like
But-
Villa.
But do you think it's the coaching of these players that's the lacking? You see the top teams, the Liverpools, the Man Cities, even the Chelseas and the Spurs to some degree. Their coaching seems a lot better. They seem to have a backroom staff as well as a manager. I'm not talking about just a manager. I'm talking about the coaching staff who see them day in, day out and must work with them on things. It looks as though Villa, to me, are lacking in that department. You know, they don't seem to have a plan. You know, another team without a plan, a definite plan of where they're going to go and what everyone's supposed to do on the pitch. And as you say, he's ruled with his heart, Steven Gerrard. Nothing wrong with that, but you've got to have a tactical brain as well, whether it's behind the scenes or the manager themselves. And I don't think, I don't think Villa's got that at the moment.
Yeah, I think you can't see them. I mean, you just can't see them having the level to challenge. I mean, they might scrape into the bottom end, the Conference League thing, but
yeah, the Europa, yeah.
Yeah, that's about all that's all you can really see them. You can't see them actually stepping for. You don't look at what they've done. You look at it and you think, Kamara, good signing. You know.
Yeah.
But you still see too many holes. Then again, there's so many, both of them. There's so many problems with the teams around that possibly they could profit from all the mistakes the others have made. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm still saying 7, 8, or 9 they'd finish. 7th is the best they could do. Maybe 8 or 9 is more likely. And things change during the season, but that's where I see them finishing.
Yeah.
Can't see, them going into the top 6. I just can't see it. But they have got quite a lot of good players, and they will beat teams. Because on the day they've got very good outfits, but they're too inconsistent for me as a team to actually get challenged, for the top honours.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think. Yeah, they haven't got the quality yet. Maybe they.
No.
Maybe they could be in time, but no, I just don't see them stepping up. So should we move on to Bournemouth next?
Yeah, Bournemouth.
They haven't really done much. They've let Robbie Brady go, and Zeno Ibsen Rossi, Gavin Kilkenny, and Gary Cahill. And then they brought in Rothwell Ryan Fredericks. I mean, that's a bizarre one because he's shit.
Yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
So that's what they brought in. I mean, I just don't see them.
I think they're one of the strugglers for me. I don't know whether they've got money to spend or they're just not spending it. But up to now, they haven't done much transfer-wise. They are a very good Championship side. I think they'll be a poor Premiership side. And I think that from day one, they're going to be looking to survive as the main thing they can do. I've said it before, I said it about Sheffield United the first season, and they've done very well. But I can't see where they've got a team that's going to actually take points off most of the sides in there.
And
I think they're going to...
The difference with Sheffield United is Sheffield United had they went out and took the game to teams. They went out and gave it a go. They went out to win. From the start, they didn't mess about. Yes, most of the team were from the League One level and that, but they went out. They had nothing to lose and they played like it from the start, and they helped
Yeah.
the quality of the players. They had a good manager. It was a ridiculous decision to sack him.
I agree with that, yeah.
But you look at Bournemouth and you don't see the same. Scott Parker, nah. He'll send his team out. They'll just pass around, and they'll go nowhere.
I have to agree with you, Tris. I can see them struggling from day one. I think they're one of their sides who you'd have to put down as relegation candidates. You know, nice club, you know, but they haven't got the quality of player to make a serious assault on the Premier League. I'm not talking about winning, I'm talking about staying in it now. They for me are lacking a lot of quality in positions who will do all right in the Championship, but stepping up the level, to step up from Championship to Premiership is quite a big one. And it's whether the players are up for it, whether the club's up for it, to actually, you know, be able to survive, and I very much doubt it.
Yeah, I can't see it either. Yeah, you just look at them and their teams, there's nothing there quality-wise. Nothing there, you know, they've not got a good defence to protect them. You just don't see anything in it. They're playing pretty football, you know, well, they'll pass it around a lot, but...
You see, some of the things, what I usually say about teams, like, is there anyone you'd want in your side from Bournemouth?
No.
And I can't think of one player who would say, I'd like him at my side. You know, I'd like him in my side. You know, if you've let Ericsson, what's the name? What am I talking about? You know, the players who come in, they're not going to be good enough for the Premier League. And the players just aren't good enough for me.
Yeah, the only
Unless
one... Sorry, I was going to say, there's only two players of them that look at it. David Brooks looked like he had the qualities, had trouble with injuries and cancer and that.
He's gone down the neck. He's gone down the neck a bit, hasn't he, Brooks, from when he first come on the scene.
Yeah, he had a really bad injury and then he had cancer.
Yeah.
So
I know.
Give the lad a chance, right? He's recovering from cancer. You know, he's not really give him a chance to
I know.
Yeah. But I mean,
give him a free one.
Was the one I was going to say. Looks like he's got the quality to play in the Premier League. He was their standout player before they went down as well, and he's the one. But I mean, is he good enough to step up much? No. But yeah.
No, I wouldn't think so. I think all their players are not getting. Any of their players are getting in the top 6, 7 teams in the Premiership. You know, they're going to be looking at.
Just
good luck to them.
Good point just made on the live chat. Arjun just said, are they still owned by the Russian guy? They are, Maxim Denim, aren't they? So
I think they might be, you know.
That's probably why they're not spending anything, because, like, you know, they've probably got all
the money. The embargo on them,
Yeah, he's probably got all his money in it. He's probably not able to get at his money. So
No.
The only thing you can see for them is whether they get relegated by, you know, early on, or whether they make a fight of it. And it does look like a team that's going to struggle to make a fight of it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, Tris. I think they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Right, who's next, mate?
Next up is Brentford, the Bees, and obviously they've lost Christian Eriksen, Julian Jambier, 2 centre-backs have left, and the keeper that you had on loan as well, Jonas Lossel's gone back. He's finished his loan, but they brought in Keane Lewis Potter from Hull City. Looks a decent player.
He looks okay.
Aaron Hickey from Bologna. He was clearly did okay in Serie A, but I'm a bit surprised that he's done so well. But you know, sometimes players can make a difference. Can make a real improvement when they're playing regularly.
Yeah.
And
they're another one who will struggle. I think they're going to struggle. They're another team without much quality. But I've got a soft spot for Brentford. I think they play nice stuff. I'm a big fan of the manager. I think he's really enthusiastic and gives his all. And, I wouldn't mind them doing well, Brentford, because I think they've got a good philosophy about football. I think they play good stuff. I just don't think they might be second season syndrome again. Teams come up and they fight well and they do well, and then they seem to tail off the second season. I think that might happen to Brentford, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't, again, they've not really brought in any major improvements, but they've got goal scorer in Tony, and they've got that other young lad in Boomer.
Yeah.
Or Boomer, whichever, I can't remember which it is.
I'm a big fan of Ivan Toney, by the way. I think he's done really well, but I think you need players around you, and I think he might actually end up going. If someone needs a centre forward, like Newcastle do, it wouldn't surprise me if they went for him, Tris, to be honest with you, because they're not going to get Calvert-Lewin by the looks of it. So I think they'll be looking for someone like Ivan Toney to become a striker, for them, for Newcastle, because I think he's their standout player for me. And I think he's a very good player.
Yes, Tony, I think, is better than Calvert-Lewin myself.
Yeah, I don't think there's much in him.
Not much in it, but I think he's a better player. I'd take him.
He's a better goal scorer. I don't think he's a better centre forward. I think he's a better goal scorer, possibly. But I don't think there's much between them two. But I think Fred would, if a decent offer, a 60 million offer was made, I think Bournemouth might take it. And if they lose him, I think they'd be massive trouble. Brentford, yeah.
Yeah, I expect him to go. I'm surprised he's still there, to be honest. He doesn't seem to be happy there.
I am, yeah. I'm surprised he hasn't gone. There hasn't been more talk about him going, because I think he could do a job for a progressive team. Someone who's looking to break into top 6 or whatever. I think he could be the difference. He's a really good player.
Yeah, I really like him, actually. I don't think he's quite top class, but he's certainly not a bad player.
No.
As long as they keep him and Mbeumo fit, I think Brentford will stay safe again. But
yeah, I'm doubting that.
Goal scorers make a huge difference.
Yeah.
I mean, if they sell them, then they're in trouble. Unless they've got to replace him, but they've always done it. They've always managed to bring in decent strikers, haven't they, in recent years? So.
Yeah, I like them. I like them as a club. I like the philosophy of the club. But I think they do need players, and they can't afford to lose any of the better ones. And if they do, I think they're going to be in the mire. I can't see them being, outside. They're going to be in the bottom 6. But you never know. They might sign someone. They haven't yet, really, anyone decent. But you never know.
Yeah, I can't see them making a huge step up, but I do think so long as they can hold on to the strikers, I think, and keep them fit. Yeah, I think they're all right. I think they'll be okay.
Right.
I don't think they're going to be top half or anything, but I don't think they're going to, they're going to be relegated. They might have to fight it, but there's definitely a lot worse teams in the division.
Well, isn't it just, yeah?
And they've got goal scorer, which is a huge thing.
That's the main thing.
You look at Brighton,
a goal.
and the struggles they have is purely because they don't have a goal scorer to convert all the chances they make.
Yeah, very much so. Are they next on the list, are they, Brighton, Tris?
I would assume so. Yes, they are, in fact. Just have a look.
Right. Well, nice segue into the Brighton issues there.
So they've lost.
Go on,
I was going to say they've lost Bissouma to Spurs, Ostergaard to Napoli, Baluta's left on a free transfer, Seamer's left on loan, Connolly's gone on loan, but he's crap anyway. They sent a Dingret off to their sister club, so they're feeder club in Belgium, Union Saint-Gilles, and Hayden
Yeah.
Roberts gone off to Derby on loan. They brought in Enciso, a teenage striker, and they brought in that Adingra, who's gone out on loan anyway. And that Denise Undav has come back from a loan spell with Union, as has a couple of others, but he's the one because he's a striker and he scored a lot of goals out there. So.
Yeah. But the Premier League's a bit of a different kettle of fish, isn't it? And
can be, yeah.
Will he do it? Will he do it? I don't know. I think they, as you said before, I think they've been struggling for a striker for as long as I've known. They are a really good footballing side. I think they've got a fantastic manager in Graham Potter, and I think they've got some really good, talented players. Basuma is going to be a massive loss for them. He made them tick. I think Cucurella might go to Man City by the looks of it. Yeah, he might go to Man City by the looks of it. If they want him, he's going to go. And they're willing to pay the money. But I can see them still doing all right. They're going to take points off people. They're a good club. They're a good side to watch. As you say, their biggest problem is actually putting the ball in the net. If they could get someone to put the ball in the net, they'd be challenging for top 6 for me.
But they'd already replaced Bissouma last season. They brought in that Moepu, who was to replace him, but then he didn't go because obviously there was the trouble off the pitch with him, which stopped the move going through him. Yeah. So they'd already replaced. So I don't think it's as big a deal for them. I still think he's a fantastic. He was excellent for them at times last season. He had some really good games, but they planned for it, so I think they'll be all right. Their issue is it doesn't matter what happens with that. The issue with them is whether the strikers that Undav or Enciso can provide the goals they're missing. He's got to be better than Connolly. I mean, he's crap.
Yeah, he's very, very average. Not even average, is he?
No, he
mediocre, I'd say. But
that was at the championship level.
They're another one. If they had an Ivan Toney in the side who scored goals, he could make the difference from them being also rans to being Europa League challenging for a spot in the Europa League.
Definitely.
And good strikers, they're going to cost money, but they've got good money for Basuma. I don't know how much they've laid out on actual transfers, but I think it'd be worth them paying the money, getting a top striker, because Maupay isn't the answer. As much hard as he works, Maupay, he's not going to get you many goals. But if they had goals in the side, I think they'd be a tremendous side.
Yeah, that's always been their problem.
Yeah.
I just don't see what they are. It all comes down to how Undav and Enciso do, I think, for me. That's their issue.
Yeah.
Maupay's not the answer. It's just whether that difficult one. But Undav's shown he can score goals, so why not?
Do you think Potter might go, Chris? I think he's an up-and-coming manager. I think a lot of teams are interested in him. Bigger teams than Brighton, you could say. Brighton, they've got money. They're a pretty decent, good club.
I'm sure he's still there, to be honest.
Aspirations-wise, would he be, a manager for a bigger club than Brighton? I'm not saying that disparagingly about Brighton, but someone with more clout, more about them, more ambition than what Brighton seem to have.
You'd expect him to. I mean, surely somebody will come in for him. He's one of the best young managers around. They must be crazy not to.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I think he could do well at most clubs, to be honest with you. I think his football philosophy is really good. Seems a very good manager, and gets the best out of players. And all the players seem to work for it. They work hard, Brighton. They're a very hard working side. And, he's the type of manager who I'd like to see do well. And if that's with Brighton, all well and good. If Brighton have got the ambition, but I think maybe a bit, maybe even an Arsenal or a Spurs type club that are on the verge of being really, really big.
No, I agree with that.
Could go in for someone like him.
I think they should have done. I really think they missed the trick. Arteta. No, I can see why Spurs went for Conte, but it's only a short-term thing.
Yeah.
Whereas he's if you want a long-term manager, I would have thought Potter's the one to go for.
Yeah. If Klopp decided to leave, and if he did leave Liverpool, would you be happy with Potter, Tris? Or don't you think he's that big enough to take on the job like at one of the top big clubs?
I think he's good enough, but the issue is, is he ready? Is the question. I don't know. I mean, I certainly wouldn't. I wouldn't have him down as one of those that go, oh fuck no, please God, no, make it not happen. So he'd certainly be one of those I'd be thinking, it could work out. So why not? There's a lot worse around. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. Where would you see Brighton finishing, Tris, in the greater scheme of things?
Mid-table, unless if the goal score, if one of them players is a goal scorer, that Undav can get his goal scoring boots on, then they'll be pushing for European places. Otherwise, they're mid-table.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. So, which is probably where they'll
around 7 to 8. Even without the striker, I'm saying 6, 7, 8 maybe. If you get, if you get a strike. But I think they'll have a good season. I don't think they're going to be a walkover for any team, and I think they got a good ethos. I like them.
Yeah, they're a good side. They'll be okay. They're not going to struggle, are they? But...
No, you'd certainly think not. I think they might struggle if they lost Potter.
Yeah,
But if he doesn't go, I think they're going to be, one of the teams who are going to take points, even off some of the big boys.
Yeah, I can see them doing well. But it does. That is the worry. If they lose him, they're in trouble. Cause they're very much built around him and what he does. So it might work out in the short term. Somebody new coming in, providing a bit of a fresh impetus, but long term it'll just get, you can see them just ending up in real trouble if they lose him. Just can't see anybody to bring in to replace him and improve it. So we move on to Chelsea then. And they've brought
Chelsea.
Yeah, they've brought in Raheem Sterling, Kalidou Koulibaly, Conor Gallagher and Armando Broja, Tino Angelin are all back off loan, as is Emerson, Ethan Ampadu, Michy Batshuayi and Matt Miazga. And of course, Romelu Lukaku's gone out on loan, Rudiger and Christensen have left to Real Madrid and Barcelona, Clark Salter's dropped down to QPR, Saul's gone back to Atletico Madrid, and they've got rid of Danny Drinkwater, thankfully, and Charlie has also left. So, it's quite a turnover considering they haven't been able to do much. But like a lot of it is obviously just because of loans and ended contracts. I mean,
they've got some marvelous players there, Tris. I mean, there's some really good players. But I think the problem with Chelsea is the manager, Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah,
I think he's an impact manager. I think we've said it before. Comes in, does really well, but can't sustain it. And I think the Lukaku problem was not only Lukaku. I think it was Tuchel as well. I think he'd done the right thing getting rid of Lukaku, by the way. I think he lost his mojo, and he lost a hell of a lot of money on him. He's gone for $8 million on loan for the season. I know it's only a loan, but he doesn't want to be at the club, and that's been a problem for a while now. And he still got played at times when he shouldn't have been nowhere near the side. His attitude wasn't right.
No, he was a horrible player. And they haven't really brought in anyone to replace. They've still not got a striker. Bro has not. I mean, he wants to go as well. Is the other thing, but he's not. For me, I'm not sure he's anywhere.
Wouldn't play for me. You know what I mean? If I was to think,
Yeah.
so I've got the wherewithal to actually know where to play them. That's what I think. Isn't it?
Yeah, I mean they've got Sterling. Where's he gonna? Koulibaly he's an improvement on Rudiger. He's pretty much the same player, but he's pretty much a better version of Rudiger. Runs around a lot, really fast, strong, aggressive, but
I like him. I like
lacks
Koulibaly.
positional sense, and he plays on physicality rather than intelligence. Problem is at 31, how much longer does that last? You know, injuries start hitting. So, you know, it's a very short-term signing, and I think that one might not be it might not be as good. It might take him a while to settle in. You know, then again, he might just, because he's the type of player he is very well suited to the English Prem, so he could be fantastic for them. Playing alongside Thiago Silva, there's no excuse for him not to be good, because Silva is just incredible.
Great player.
Yeah. Having Gallagher back would be a big thing if Tuchel.
Conor Gallagher, yeah.
And I think Ampadu's a decent player. I think he's better than he's been able to show. He's had growing pains and that issues, hasn't he? So their issue is they're similar stories to Brighton. They just don't have a striker, top class striker, finisher.
Koulibaly for me, I've been a massive fan for a number of years now. I think he's a really good player. But I should say his age is against him. He'll start picking up more injuries now. And it's a lot more physical, the Premier League. So, I'm the jury's still out with me, even though I think he's a really good player. At his age, will he be able to last the season, with the physicality of the Premier League? Raheem Sterling, I don't see that as a signing. I didn't see it. I don't think he's got that much quality. I think he got away with it at City. He misses too many chances. He's not a goal scorer. He's another one who I think will spend a lot of the time coming off the bench. I don't think he's going to be, this great signing for Chelsea. I don't rate him that highly as a player. Tries his best. Runs like a little girl, but he is a proven Premiership player. I just don't know whether he's, going to do it for Chelsea week in, week out. Because he didn't do it for City week in, week out. That's why he was on the bench for a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't score enough goals. He misses too many chances, which is, he's basically another Timo Werner. Very quick.
Yeah.
Skillful, good touch and that, but he's just not scored. He's just.
Everyone expected Werner to be a lot better than what he was. He'd come with a great reputation of he's going to do this. He's dead quick. He's going to score goals, and he's basically done nothing, has he?
He's created a lot. He gets a lot of assists, but I just don't think he's. I just don't.
I don't think they're looking for assists. I don't think they need any assist makers. I think they need a goal scorer. I was surprised that they never went for the lad City got. Probably because he wanted to go there, but
Haaland. Yeah.
I thought they might for him, to be honest with you.
They did try and get him last season, but the money was just obscene.
Yeah.
That's what happened. He just said they wouldn't pay out the huge amounts of money that he wanted. Plus he wanted, basically he's only looking for a couple of years, and then he wants to move on again. It's all about money, clearly. The lads, he said, and I don't want.
But they paid 100 million for Lukaku. That was to come back after him falling out. After him falling out with them, and they knew what he was like.
Yeah, to me that was a desperation move after the move for Haaland fell through.
Yeah, I can see that.
Spend nearly 100 million on Lukaku, and you can only cut. It was a real bad mistake. But you got to say it was clearly a shit. What we're going to do? We've missed out on who we wanted, so we'll go for him instead. It's kind of like, and we'll just have to pay what it takes. So
They have got some great players, though, haven't they? I don't think they do it as a team all the time, but they've got some good individual players, and
I think the same as you. I think Tuchel's the problem. He doesn't know how to use them to the best. He doesn't seem to have it. That's why sometimes that's so inconsistent, because he doesn't get the best out of the players on a consistent basis.
Yeah, they start off like a house on fire, don't they? They really, they look up for it, and then they seem to lose the way with Tuchel. They seem to become a very negative side. Not the greatest team to watch at times either. And for the players they've got, and the players they've got on loan, that are put out on loan, the likes of Conor Gallagher, you'd think that they would have, they've got such a hoard of riches that you'd think they'd do better than what they actually do at the moment.
They should do a lot better. But, yeah, I mean, yeah, they should be definitely pushing to chasing down the top two, but I see them ending up struggling for top three again. They're fighting for the top 4 place, really.
Yeah, I agree with you. I can't see them challenging the top 2 again this season, even though they bought some good players. I think they're still, number 3 is the highest they can go. It will be 3 or 4, by the way. I sincerely believe that they'll finish 3rd or 4th. But still can't see them for the plethora of players they've got, the quality of team they've got. I just can't see them challenging Liverpool or Man City.
No, they're going to struggle. They're not going to struggle in terms of I can't see them finishing outside the top 4. If they do, it'd be a big shock. They'd have had to implode it. But I can't see them chasing down the top 2 either.
Do you think if they had indifferent start, do you think Tuchel might be in a bit of bother?
Yes, because they got a new man in charge.
Yeah. Yeah, I think their start is all important to them. If they lose a couple of games early on, I think Tuchel's in big trouble.
I can see
and
it
I think
well.
He's the type, he's his own man, Tuchel, and he's a bit bloody-minded for me at times, because he won't change it, no matter if he thinks it's got to change it. He does things for, effect. He's very self-centered, and if he believes what he's doing right, even if it's not working, he'll stick with it. And I think that's one of Tuchel's problems. I think he does okay, but I don't think he's ever going to be a manager who you'd say, "Oh, I'd love him to be my manager."
No, he's not someone you go out your way to get at your club, is he?
No, not really. No.
For him, to be honest.
He comes across more as an interim manager than an actual, top quality manager. Someone you'd bring in if you were in trouble, or your team's not doing well. We'll get Thomas Tuchel in. He's not a great manager for me.
Yeah, he's very short term.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's what they've got, so they've got to use him.
So we're saying 3 or 4 for Chelsea, Tris?
Yeah. Top 3, top 4, I think.
Yeah, I think that's as far as they can go at the moment.
What you say now? I mean, most teams would be guarded that, but the money they're spending, and you still don't see any sign of them getting the most from that youth system.
No.
It still looks a bit of a mess. You don't expect. I mean, you can see Gallagher struggling for time this season. You can see Ampadu ended up going back out on loan. You know what I mean? You just don't see the pick of the crop ending up staying there. You just see them moving on again, and that for me is their biggest problem because they've got these players, they've got a brilliant youth setup. They need to use him. They need to use him.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Seth. Totally agree with you.
Until they start figuring out how to make it work to create the best team possible rather than make a profit, until they figure out how to do that, they're always going to be, a step down on the top sides.
Yeah.
Like the City. Because City, everything is about winning on the pitch. They're not bothered about making a...
Yeah.
They're not bothered
Right,
about... they're not bothered about... It's to me, it's just one of those things where they've turned into a club. They were run purely for profit and, trying to, make even out their losses and that, and Abramovich. You wanted them to run as a business, and I just don't think they were able to do so because you can't compete with the likes of City and that unless you need to be, a Real Madrid size club to compete as a business, and they're run so badly they can't do it. But I mean, if you're going to run a business, you have to be the biggest club in the world to compete
Yeah.
with, and they aren't. So.
No, I think that's, as I say, I think they've got a plethora of riches. I think they've got some great players. They've got a team that could flourish in the Premier League in the reserve side. I think they've got great youth setup, but I can't see them actually challenging for the title.
No, maybe they've got a cup though.
Yeah. Oh, I'll definitely give them a cup. Who's next, Chris? Who do we move on to now?
Crystal Palace is next.
Crystal Palace. Surprised me a bit last year, I must admit. I thought Vieira had done very well for his first season. Thought he'd done really well. I thought they played some good stuff as well to give teams a game. What sort of buys have they made, Trish?
Yeah, I was just waiting to get in there. They've lost Jaroslav Jak, who didn't really play for them anyway. Martin Kelly, who's always injured, and Jacob Montez, who I don't remember ever seeing play for them. And they brought in Chick Decore from Lons. I've not really seen a lot of him. Sam Johnston from West Brom, and I know everyone raves about him, but I'm not I'm not the biggest fan of him. He's decent, but he's not world class or anything, And
they've lost Conor Gallagher.
Ebiowe from Derby, who's a decent winger. But the big thing is they've lost Conor Gallagher. That's a huge loss.
It is a massive loss for them. I think they're another side who, they're not going anywhere. They'll do okay, I think, again this season. I think Vieira was really good last season. He exceeded expectation for me. I didn't think he'd be as good a manager as what he turned out to be. That might be first season syndrome, I don't know. But I think they've got an okay squad, a squad that's going to stay in the Premiership. But I don't think they're going to frighten any teams. They're not going to win any cups. And I can't see them having a great season, but I can't see them going down. They're one of them mid-table sides who will work hard, because Vieira was a hard worker. He'll install that into them. And, they might do okay, but nothing better than okay,
Yeah, but for them, mid-table mediocrity is great,
Yeah. Oh, you'll take that all day, yeah.
Yeah,
but I can't. They're not someone who you're going to say, "Oh, we threw Palace in the cup," So what? They're not going to frighten any teams, are they? But I think they'll give a good account of themselves, even though they have lost the best player. But I don't think they're going to, light any fires this season. I don't think they're going to take points off the big boys. I think they'll be shooing to get beat by the top teams. And although I like them as a club, I don't think that. I think, as you said before, mediocrity, and they're going to be happy with that so long as they don't get relegated. And I think that's the way they'll set up for the whole season.
They're another team that lack a goal scorer as well. That's their problem. They haven't got
Yeah.
a real goal scorer. But I mean, that Elise, I think he's going to frighten a few teams next season. He'll step out. You know, he's another year older. I think he's a player. That lad. I think he'll be the one that stands out for them. And you know, when they may have lost Gallagher, but I think he'll increase his role for the team, and that'll be a big plus for them. I don't see them fighting relegation. Let's put it that way. But I don't see them. I don't see them qualifying for Europe either.
No,
unlike the
I
next
wouldn't.
team on the list, who definitely look like a relegation battler. Don't you think?
Absolutely.
I mean, if anyone looks like a relegation battler, it is Everton. I mean, you just.
I want to disagree with you, Tris. I really do. I hate you for it, by the way. But totally,
love you too, Bill.
You're totally right. The club's in such disarray from top to bottom, not just the players, the whole club.
Oh yeah.
The only positive thing about them is the new Bromley Moore Stadium, which looks fantastic. But Everton are a side who even today, Frank Lampard saying we're looking at relegation. You know, he's saying it like it is. Unless you perform better than what you're doing at the moment, you're going to be in the relegation battle from the start. And the man's right. And whether you like Frank Lampard or not, I don't think he's the greatest manager. He's a young, up-and-coming manager, maybe. But great player. Another one of these great players like Gerrard. But are they management material? Maybe not for Everton. Maybe for someone else. Do I think he'll walk? He might walk.
I think
if he's not,
I don't think he's got long.
He might get sacked. But Everton haven't got the wherewithal at the moment to buy players.
You look at what they've done in the window, right? They've sold Richarlison, obviously. You know, needed to get on the right side of the thing. You lost John Joe Kenny. He'd offered him a freaking contract. The guy's shit. Why would you even offer him a contract? That's what I don't understand. He's nowhere near good enough for Everton. He's not even a team.
Absolutely.
He's not. I wouldn't even play him if I was a championship team. I wouldn't be looking at signing him. He's at League One level at best. I don't understand what the thinking was. Offer him a new contract. Just get rid.
You spent 3 years trying to get rid of him. Putting odds on hold, dropping him, and then he's offered a new contract. What's that all about?
At least you've got Tosun off the books, which is a good thing. And Del, getting rid of him because he's always injured and you just pay him money for nothing. Lonergan, I mean, third choice keepers, it doesn't really matter. Sigurdsson's gone at last.
Sigurdsson's gone, thank God,
El Ghazi's gone back to Villa. And that's it, you're out. But Inns, I mean, you've got the young keeper back, but hasn't he gone back out on loan again? Yeah, he's gone back out on loan, hasn't he, to Campbell, So, Nkunku, the left back, so maybe he'll give him a chance. Because he
looks a player at Niles Nkunku.
Exactly. And why did he send him out on loan and then play John Joe Kenny at left back most of the season? I mean, what the was that about? I mean, that to me, it just sums up why Frank Lampard's not going to make it, because he's an idiot. He's supposed to be really highly intelligent, but that's just idiotic. Why put a right back at left back and you send your left back out on loan? I mean, it's just stupidity. It doesn't make any sense. Obviously, Gavin's come back in. Whether he can stay fit and he'll be the player he once looked like he was going to be is a different matter. And you've brought in Tarkowski. You've massively overpaid for him on a free transfer. But, you're in a situation where that's all you can do is get free transfers, even if they are shit like Tarkowski, who I don't rate at all, as you know. I just think he's a donkey.
Yeah,
he's one-on-one.
I'm willing to give him the benefits of the doubt.
One-on-one, he's an excellent defender. One-on-one, there's not many players that beat him. The problem is, 99% of the time, it reminds me of Jose Enrique. people would rave about his one-on-one defending because he had the best stats in the Premier League. He hadn't been beaten in something like 6 years. Yeah, but that's because he was a moron and he was never where he should have been, so he was nowhere near the player. You know what I mean? He was nowhere near anyone to get beat. That was the problem. He was always miles out of position, and Tarkowski's the same. Yes, he's very good when he's actually in position, but unless you're playing a deep block,
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt.
if you play a deep block like a Roy Hodgson would play, I think he's fine. You're fine with him. Because he's not going to be able to wander off. But Lampard likes his players to get on the ball a bit, and he likes them to step up a bit. And I just don't see Tarkowski's just not good enough for that.
You see, Frank, for me,
but you've got when you look at the rest of your defences, you think, well, actually, he's probably an improvement on him, and that's the worrying thing.
Yeah. But Frank, for me, is I like him as a person. I think he's a nice enough fella. I think he's a football man. But does he fit Everton? Possibly not. Allardyce would be more of a fit for Everton. Never thought I'd ever say that. But for Everton at the moment, they need someone who's going to come in and give these players a rocket, because that's what they need.
A Roy Hodgson or someone who'll just organise them and get them playing like that. That's all you need, and I don't see him as that. So.
No, I thought he's a bit of a purist where football's concerned. Frank Lampard, he had a great attitude and he had a great skill set as well, but Everton haven't got them sorts of players, so I think he's finding it hard, because he is the type of manager who'll do well with good players. Everton haven't got good players. They're not likely to have good players.
I don't think that's his problem. His problem is that he doesn't know. He doesn't understand how to look for players that suit the way he wants to play, and he doesn't understand how to get players fitted into the system he wants to play. He doesn't understand how to develop them to work in the system he wants to play. That's why he did so well at Chelsea initially, because he had to just make do and mend with what was there, and that's when it was going well for him. And then he got a chance to spend money in the transfer market, and he made a complete hash of it, and he binned off all the kids that had actually done well for him instead of just building around them and carrying on using them. And just looking for them to step up, he just binned them off, and I think that's the kind of person he is, and that he can't do at Everton. So this might actually suit him, not being able to, because he'll have to make
the thing is, for me, Everton's biggest problem, and I know you might disagree, but it's not on the pitch. The biggest problem is that Farhad Moshiri has made so many mistakes by getting involved in the picking of the squad, with Kia Jarabchin as his advisor and other advisors who just told him to sign players that should be nowhere near the club. And it's just descended into a farce. And I'm a massive Everton fan, I always have been, but the club is going backwards, and I can't see this train stopping. I can't see anyone who's going to come in and change things, whether it be at the top or the bottom of the rung of the ladder. They are in a mess. I think they've got a lot of players there who shouldn't be anywhere near the club. I think there's too many of the good old boys in their backroom squad, and I think they're going to really struggle this season. And if you give me 17th now, I'd bite your hand off, and I really mean that.
Question for you, while I think on Duncan Ferguson, do you think it'll be a loss, or do you think it'll not make any difference, or do you think it'll be actually
a
positive step in going? Everton, they're in trouble. They're in a relegation battle, and that's that's it. It's just whether they can survive it's going to be a real fight for them. They just don't look good enough, to be honest. In fact, they look to have got worse from last season, and they they were bad enough. They should have gone down. Really, they were that bad last season. So
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. My only hope is that they can bring in, whether it be on loan or whether it be they find money for a couple of transfers, players that can actually change the dynamic of the side, because they all look unfit, they all look lazy, and there's no one actually in the squad, bar for maybe Gordon and Pickford, who seem to have the will to win. You know, a lot of them are just going through the motions, and that's not good enough, and it's always going to get you in trouble, and that's why they are in trouble.
What do you think of Gordon? Because a lot of Everton
Do you know what?
seem to think he's the second coming of like the greatest player of all time. You know, he's Pele's love child or something. And
He's not the second coming. He's a decent young lad. He works hard. He does. I hate all his diving exploits, by the way.
Yeah.
But he's a good young player who I think would benefit with better players around him. I think he's full of energy. He works his heart out. But quality-wise, he's not there yet. He's got time, but he's not there yet quality-wise. He's a good young player. But Everton will knock that out of him. Don't worry about that. You know, they will, because there's no better club to destroy someone's confidence than Everton.
Yeah.
And as much as I like him and I want him to do well, young lad, come good. Everyone likes to see that at the club. They're one of their own. But in that side, he's fighting a losing battle. So like, you know, and there was a 35 million bid apparently from Newcastle wanted to sign him, Tottenham wanted to sign him. You know, he'd do better, certainly do better there than what he would at Everton. But we've got to try and keep hold of them players. Otherwise, if we start selling the likes of him, we're in even bigger trouble, if you can be in bigger trouble.
The
But
thing that
go on, Chess.
I was going to say, I think for me, the issue is what made the difference for me is not the team itself on the pitch, but off the pitch, the fans. Because once Rafa went, the fans got you know, at first they didn't. Obviously, they sort of just sat back and carried on being, oh, we're losing, we're. But when they sat up and said, right, we're not going to stand for this, and started and just, you know, made a huge noise and got really behind the team. That was what made the difference for me. That's what saved Everton, not the manager, not the players. For me, that was the difference, is what the fans did.
Yeah.
The way they got behind him. And I fear that isn't going to last. Because if it doesn't, they're in trouble. You know, then I can't see anything other than relegation. And that would be a huge shock for Everton to go down after all these years. But you just can't see how they can survive with the team they've got, and the management and the setup and the ownership. It's just all a mess.
It is a mess, and I don't know whether Frank's the man to actually cure that. You know, I think he might either get fed up, or they'll look to someone else who can do it. But I can't see Frank staying there. I'd love him to come good, you know. I would. I'd love him to come good and get us playing, and you know. But with what he's got there and his technical, you know, savvy, I don't think Everton are going to get there under Frank. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the lad does well, and I hope Everton start playing football and better football, and you know, get themselves out of it and work the socks off, because the supporters, as you said before, deserve it, but they're not going to stay with.
I didn't say they deserved it.
They're not going to stay with them if they're not producing it on the pitch. You know, you've got to see people working hard, and you've got to see people who want to play in the shirt. If they don't, they'll lose the supporters, and if they lose the supporters, there's no way back. There's no way back for any club who loses the supporters. And I fear for Everton this year. I really do. You know, I just as I say, I'd bite your arm off for 17th. You could say now, we'll give you, you're going to finish 17th. I'd bite your arm off and take it.
I'd tell you, didn't bite my arm off, like, but I'm quite happy for you to take that, but, like, you know, please don't bite my arm off because I need it. Well, I think we're both convinced Everton are in trouble, so there's nothing really much more to say. So we move on to Fulham then. One of their likely opponents in the relegation battle. They brought in Paulinho, who was linked with Wolves, Andreas Pereira from Man United, and they look like they're going to get Bern Leno and who's the other one? Issa Diop, that was it, from West Ham. Yeah. They've lost Anguissa, which is a huge thing for me, because I think he was the one quality player they had when they were last in the Premier League. He's a class act. And Carvalho, who I know he's only young, but I think he's a quality, you know, he looks like he's a quality player. Looks shit, so, you know, then no loss there. Sessegnon's gone out on loan again. Mawson, Hector, Cyrus Christie and Fabry have all been released. None of them were good enough. Shit, really. You know, they've not lost anything of value other than Anguissa and Carvalho. They did receive fees for it, if not much. So, yeah. And what they bought, I mean, it's going to be a struggle, let's be honest. They're going to be in you can't see them being anything but in a relegation battle. Marco Silva's not the best manager either.
No.
He's got a level and he's at it now. You know, this is his level. He might get a good start and they end up avoiding relegation battle because they got off to a good enough start. But that's the only hope they've got is avoiding the relegation battle. They're not really a good side. They've got nice players, but they've not got great players. You know, they're not the best, are they? Let's be honest.
No, I agree with that. I think they're going to be relegation fodder along with the Evertons and the Bournemouths. And I think, you know, I can't see them actually, you know, easily surviving. I think they could survive. You know, stranger things have happened. But I think it's going to be hard work for them. Unless they get a couple more players. But it doesn't, no, it's getting late on in the day. But they need players. They're another side, like I said about Bournemouth. You're not going to say, I'd like him out of that side. They haven't got the players, you know. They just haven't got the players. As you say, Carvalho's going to be a big miss for them because he looks as though he's got talent. You know, I know Liverpool have got him, but he looks as though he's a lad for the future who's got talent. And the Fulhams of this world need players like that.
And they've got a lot of players who are too good for the Championship. They're Mitrovic and Wilson, but nowhere near good enough for the Premier League. And that's the problem they've got. They're at that level where they're just not quite at it. So you can't see them actually.
The one thing I will say about them, Trist, is with Mitrovic, he does score goals. Whether he'll score, he's not going to obviously score as many in the Championship, but he is a goal. Yeah, in the Championship, he's great. But he is a goal scorer, and that is a massive factor for teams.
But he's
up to the Prem.
To do it in the Prem. That's the thing.
No,
he never managed to do it in the Prem, and I don't see that changing because I just don't think he's that. I don't think he's that. I just don't think he's good enough.
I think he'll get goals, and nowhere near as many as what he got in the Championship. But I still think he can put the ball in the net, and I think that's going to pull them out enough to maybe, just maybe, keep them alive this season.
I
still think they're going to struggle.
That's the problem. I don't think they'll create enough chances for him to score. They're very reliant on players like Harry Wilson creating them. While he takes a good free kick, he's a lazy shite who won't put his, he won't.
Yeah.
And that's where the issue lies. When you're a team like them, you need players to work twice as hard as the opposition. And he's not going to do that. They're going to be very reliant on what Paulinho, on Paulinho fitting in and playing well.
See, Harry Wilson for me is like an American kicker. You should bring him on to take a kick and then get rid of him. Then get off the pitch because he's quite talented. But as you say, he does nothing for 80 minutes out the game. You know, the odd touch, great free kick taker, good corner taker. But the rest of his game is bloody awful. But they've got a lot of them players in at Fulham, actually. You know, they're not a great side. But I think they know that. But I think they might just save themselves. But it'll be tight down there.
I think that's all. They're like Everton. They're just hoping to survive, and that's it. There's no real, there's no ambition there because they're just too far off.
Yeah.
They'll spend a lot of money again, but until they actually manage to survive, they're not going to be able to invest to build on, build a team.
No.
And so they're always going to be struggling. And they need a one season where they do survive against the odds, and then they can.
As you said, this is a pivotal season for them. If they can get through this season, survive, and maybe build for next year, they have possibilities, but they're going to find it really hard for me.
Yeah.
I'm saying they're going to finish 18th, 19th.
Yeah, I think so too. The only reason I think they won't finish bottom is because Bournemouth are the worst team in the Premier League. Could possibly they probably won't now. I've said it, but they're on paper they look the worst team that's ever managed to qualify for the Premier. After at this stage of the transfer window, I mean, as we're coming into the start of the league, they just don't look a good side. They don't look well managed. There's nothing you can hold out hope for them with.
No.
For Bournemouth, they've not got a big raucous crowd behind them. Anything. There's just nothing you can say.
Positives, yeah. Right, I think we're done with Fulham.
Yeah, so we're moving on to Leeds United, and I think they could be a surprise package this season. Despite I know they've lost Rafinha and Calvin Phillips. Nearly 100 million for the two. They've lost Lawrence Dubak, didn't really play for them. Tyler Roberts and Charlie Creswell and Jamie Shackleton have gone out on loan. They won't miss Roberts. He was a terrible player, wasn't good enough. Creswell, I think it was a mistake to let him go on loan. But yeah, apart from that, I think actually Phillips was too big, getting too many injuries, so no disruption. Rafinha will be a big loss. But I do think I do think they've bought well. You know what I mean? I don't think they've bought a player of his quality, but I think they've bought a team of quality. A team of better quality than they had before when they've to replace those two in Aronson, Sinestera, Tyler Adams, who I think is a very good player, Rasmus Christensen, Mark Rocker, decent player as well. Giabi, only a youngster, but I think he's going to be a player too. I think they've got a very good. They've brought in a decent set of signings. Obviously, they still need a striker and a left back, which they're looking for, and they've said they're going to sign him. My worry is, I don't think Jesse Marsch is good enough. That's where I think they're.
That's exactly what I was just going to say to you, Tris. I don't think the manager's good enough to. I think they're going to struggle as well, Leeds. I think they're going to struggle. They're bringing in good players, but a few good players. But I don't think Jesse Marsch has got the calibre of a manager who's going to do well in the Premiership. If they change him, Marco Bielsa was a fun manager, a great manager, you know what I mean? He couldn't do it. I can't see Jesse Marsch doing any better than what he done last year. I think they're going to struggle.
You've got to ask why they didn't invest last season when they were in a position of strength. Instead, they just sat on their hands and let the team, and then wonder why they struggled the following season. It was always going to happen. They needed to buy then. If that meant you had to sell Rafinha and Calvin Phillips, then do so. That's what they should have done. To buy better quality, but they didn't. They sat on their hands. They sat with what they had, and then they struggled. And now they're trying to, they're trying to basically turn it around again, rather than carrying on moving forward. And that's when it becomes difficult. Yeah, I don't
think they're going to improve until they get rid of Marsch. I really don't. I think, I don't think they're going anywhere under Marsch.
No.
No matter who they bring in, I don't think they're going to do well under Marsch. He's not Premiership quality. He's not even Championship quality. For me, I've got nothing against Marsh. I just don't think he's good enough.
He seems like a nice enough bloke. But yeah, I agree with
you. Yeah. But has he got the quality? Do you see him
he was very poor
keeping aside? Yeah, I think they're going to be down there. I think they're going to finish somewhere in the 13, 14, 15 positions. I really do.
Yeah, it's bottom half, but I don't think they're going to be relegated. That's what I'd say.
No, possibly not. But, it depends on their start as well. Their start might be crucial to the season, and it might be better for Leeds United if they have a bad start, get rid of Marsh and start again. But whether that happens, we don't know.
I don't think they'll get rid of him. That's the thing. So I can't see it.
Because they've got American owners. Do you think it's because they've got American owners?
He was brought in because he's American, and the American owners want. It's not the American owners. They're part owners, but they're moving towards. They've got a thing to buy the club, and they want to very much sell it out there, in America. So they'll keep an American coach in charge. I think I just can't see them getting rid of him. If they do, I can't see them I can't see them doing anything but going down a similar route and getting another American in who's not good enough but has got the right fit for the in terms of
clubs,
in America. Yeah. I think it's too much about marketing and not enough about what's best for the team. I think that's their mistake.
To be honest with you, I think they're going to be struggles, but I don't think they're going to beat a lot of teams. But
can't see them going down though. I think they've brought in enough good players to survive. The next team is a really interesting one. Leicester City. They've pretty much done nothing. Pratt's come back off loan. Jakupovic has been released, and Lookman's gone back after finishing his loan from Leipzig, and that's it. It does suggest to me they've lost faith in Rodgers, which is understandable because, I'm not a big fan of his. I don't think he's a but it's just a very odd situation they're in. I mean, they do look to be going backwards under him, though. To be fair, I think they're
absolutely
they look like a bottom half team. I mean, and if they if they hang on to him.
Yeah, they're a funny side. They've got some good players as well, but they've got a few aging players as well. They were looking to, how long's Vardy? I keep saying this, by the way, about Vardy.
Yeah.
How long is he going to last? And he keeps doing the business.
Yeah, but he did show signs of struggling last season.
Yeah.
He did show signs.
He did the season before, though.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't have the same long purple patch this season as he did last. The season before, he had a bit of a short. You know what I mean? He had a couple of good games rather than, where I think he's got to be replaced now. They should have replaced him last season for me, and I think it might be too. I think they're going to. I really think they're going to be the surprise strugglers, not necessarily Premier, as in like relegation strugglers, because that's not where they're at. But they think of themselves as challenging for Europe, maybe pushing for the top four, and I think Rodgers will be one of the first out the door this season because they're in trouble for me. Yeah, I think they're a mess.
And their owners are great, aren't they? I think the owners have done marvellous, and I think the expectations they've got with the money they've invested. I think they're looking for better things, and I don't think Rodgers is producing that for them. I think they're looking to be a top 6-8 club, and that's not going to come to fruition under Rodgers. He might go Trish. He might be the problem because they have got some good players, play nice stuff. Got a good crowd. They've got good owners. And they've got all the things set up to be a really good Premiership stalwart club. But, as you say, they've got to do it on the pitch. And under Rodgers, I don't know whether they're able to. I think he was an impact manager, went there, done all right, after Ranieri and that. And and there were big expectations, and that's going downhill as we speak. And I think they might change Rodgers. I think he might be right.
Yeah, I can't see him surviving. Really can't. I think he's in trouble. I think he's in
I
trouble.
think they might. Yeah,
I mean,
back in the last season, they were very poor.
Yeah, they're shambolic defensively, which is always a problem under him. They've not, they look to be going backwards. Basically, they're very reliant on Johnny Evans, who's getting on, and you can't expect him to play every game.
Oh no.
There's so many things that are wrong there, and I could see that. Yeah, I think they're in trouble. I really do. I just can't see them stepping up, turning it around. I think they're just going to get worse until he gets sacked, and it's just how long do they hang on? How long do they give him? For me,
it's always been a hard game, Leicester, hasn't it? For teams, for the last few years. It's always been a hard game to go to Leicester or for Leicester to even visit you. But they're not. They don't carry that weight no more. They don't. They're not one of the teams who you'd say, "Oh, we're playing Leicester this year." If you want to struggle, you think you're going to beat them. Most teams will think you can beat Leicester.
And like teams in a relegation battle will now be looking at them as a team that they've got a chance of taking points off, rather than before they put that down as one of those games where you just think, oh, we'll just try and hold on for a draw. Now they'd be looking at thinking, we might snatch a win here.
Yeah.
I
think that's right.
And I know I'd probably come across I don't like Brendan Rodgers, and it's not true. I've got no problem with him as a person. He seems like a really nice guy, but he's just not a good manager. It's that simple for me. Coach, brilliant. Manager, awful. So he gets found out because it just the longer he's in charge, the worse the team gets. Always under him, and it's happening again. It happened at Liverpool, it happened at Celtic, and it's now happening at Leicester. So it's a repeating pattern that he's not learning from.
Groundhog Day, isn't it?
I'm sure he'll throw somebody under the bus, and
that's his usual.
Play somebody else and jump ship probably if an offer comes along. But I don't see any offers coming along for him. I think he's going to be dropping down the league a bit, isn't he? He's not going to get another job as good as the Leicester one. An opportunity like that isn't going to come along. I can see him ending up at Brighton and Potter gets snapped up.
Maybe that might be one of the best managerial swaps in history
for Leicester. Yeah.
If Leicester could get Potter for the.
Christ, could you imagine Potter would get with the goal scorer? I mean, and then Ndidi and the likes of that.
I've got some good players there. Yeah, absolutely.
So
what are we thinking? They're going to finish mid-table, I think. I think they're a mid-table side. I know we seem to have a lot of mid-table sides, but I think they're 7, 8, 9, somewhere there. I don't think they're going to be challenging.
I think they'll be lower. I think they're going to struggle to stay in the top half this season.
All right, okay.
That's what I'm saying. I think they're the ones that I'm tipping to really struggle. I think they've just held on to him too long. Rodgers, they should have let him go by now, but they haven't, and so they're not going to move on. But that's their choice. So we'll move on to next one to Liverpool. So
Liverpool, they're going to be challenging for the league again, with the only other side who can compare with them. Which is Manchester City. So
out is Sadio Mane, obviously a big loss. Nico Williams.
Yeah.
I think that's a bit of a shame for the lad, but what chance did he have with Trent Alexander-Arnold in front of him? Minamino, I think he was really underused, but because he was underused, it's not really a big loss. Grujic never really played. Never really got a chance. He wasn't really good enough. Didn't have the right attitude. Ben Davies never played. Doesn't matter. Origi's going to be a big loss because in those tight games when you need someone to come off the bench, there is no better
Yeah.
player than Origi to look to. Ojo, good riddance. Ben Woodburn, never good enough. Reece Williams out on loan. Sad to say, seems like a nice lad and that, but he's not. He's not good. He's not going to make it at Liverpool. Let's be honest. And thank fuck, Karius has finally gone as well. So yeah, and Inns is Nunes, obviously Darwin Nunes. Fabio Carvalho looks like a good signing. Calvin Ramsey, I've not seen a lot of, but like he's only a backup, so like all he's got to do is come in for the odd appearance. So can't see him being that. Maybe if Trent gets injured, but there's plenty of players in the youth that can cover that position anyway. Liverpool got quite a lot of right backs, Conor Bradley, for instance, and that, so they're not really lacking one. What I'm interested in is the lad that stayed. Everyone seems to think Liverpool should buy a central midfielder, right? Everyone's we do. Liverpool do need cover for Fabinho, as everyone knows. But it's interesting to see that on the that's the lad that's one of the lads that stayed with the first team is. Oh God, I can't think of his name now.
Martin, is it? No.
No, it's the lad we got from Celta de Vigo. He's only a youngster. So, what's his name? He plays centre back, but they moved him into central midfield last season. But Chaitic or whatever. He's only 17, Spanish and I think Serbian, is it? Yeah, Serbian. He's only 17, but he's been playing in midfield as a defensive midfielder. And
right.
He's been kept behind with he's been kept on the pre-season tour. He's been taken on the pre-season tour. So I think that's quite telling. I think that Klopp's saying maybe we'll look at, because it's only cover for Fabinho's injuries, and if Henderson's not, obviously Henderson's there to provide the main cover, so you only need an emergency one and someone to play in the cups maybe in that position so you can rest him.
Yeah.
And for me, I think
I've never seen this one.
He's been high. He's got a highly rated lad. He's been getting some great reviews and that, and it's interesting. But like I said, it's interesting. They've taken him on the pre-season tour. He's out there to play Leipzig. With the squad that's playing Leipzig today. In fact, it might be now actually.
All right. I could say Liverpool look a very, very strong outfit, don't they? They're the only challenges to Man City. I think it's too close to call out two of them who's going to win the league. It's got to be one of the two of them. But Liverpool have got a great ethos and they've got a great manager. I hate to say it, but can't see them losing many games next year. They're a very strong outfit. They've got two players for every position. Even your backup keeper's really good. And a lot will depend on how Nunes hits the ground running. There's no doubt about it that he's a quality player. But sometimes it doesn't work out for a player. But I think he is quality. But Sadio Mane, was the proven quality there, and I think he's got to be a miss. He gave everything to Sadio Mane, and I thought he was a great player. One of Liverpool's best players that I've seen for a long time, over a consistent period, and he always gave us all, and he scored a lot of goals, created a lot of goals, and won a lot of matches for Liverpool. And I think he's going to be a miss. Now, Nunes, I haven't seen a great deal of him. Seen bits of him, looks a good player. Whether he fits in as well as Sadio Mane does is yet to be determined. But Liverpool have got a very, very strong squad.
So
and especially... Go on, mate.
I was going to ask, do you think they've taken a step forward this summer or stayed the same or gone backwards?
I think they stayed the same. I think that, if Nunes is as good as we all think he is and fits in well, I think there's going to be no difference. If Nunes is better or the same as Sadio Mane, and if Salah gets his scoring boots on again. I know he had a good season. He's still one of the top scorers, but he had a bit of a shaky second half of the season.
Yeah, after the AFCON, he fell apart. It was
after the AFCON, yeah,
before that.
Yeah, he felt a bit. But that could be tiredness. It could be a lot. There's a lot of things with going on with his agent trying to hawk him around clubs, and I think that might have affected him. No doubt about it. He's one of the best players in the world, but he's got to start firing again. Yeah, and he's got to start firing again. But if he does, and Núñez comes good, there's absolutely nothing between Manchester City and Liverpool. And it's too hard to call who you'd say you'd put your house on to win the league out of two of them. It's going to be one of them. We know that.
Yeah, it's just which one, isn't it, really? It should be. Anyway, injury crisis at either club can cost them. That's the thing. Always can do. Whichever club you are, there's always a chance that a bad set of injuries in the same position, like Liverpool a couple of seasons ago. I mean, that's nobody can. No matter how much fans think you should have 25 players for every position, so that if there's 30 injuries, they can cover for injuries. Because that is the most bizarre thing, is that fans do seem to believe that a team should just buy players just in case 30 players get injured. I mean, some of the comments.
But you know, you were saying before about Origi being a big miss. I think he's spot on there, because he could change the dynamic of a game, because Liverpool, if they were in trouble, they could go route one with him, even though he was a skillful player. He could be a miss. You know, he never played that many games, but he affected every time he come on. And that could be a bit of a miss for Liverpool, to have someone to come off the bench and do that sort of thing.
But I do think Núñez could go. You could go route one with Núñez, to be honest.
All right.
I'm not sure that's an issue, because he's quite good in the air.
He just brought something different in the area. He brought something different to the side. If a lot of teams park the bus, and Liverpool, the system they play, which is through and around the back line, playing passes through, and he could always revert to Origi off the bench. Lob one up to him, he'd do something good, second phase ball, someone would get on the end and score. He affected the game. I don't know whether you've got another player on the bench who'd affect the game as much as Origi.
To be fair, you can stick the ball in the air to Diaz as well. He's very good in the air, Luis Diaz.
I love him as a player, Diaz. I think he's got a great demeanour about him as well. Lovely player. And but very a lot will depend on Núñez. Yeah, a lot will depend on Núñez and how he fits in and how quickly he fits in. But Liverpool is still going to have a fantastic season, and at worst finish second for me.
Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you? You'd think they'd be all right. You can't see them struggling.
Yeah. No, I don't think they're going to struggle by any means.
But it's whether they can do enough to win is the question.
Yeah, it's whether it all depends on how City, how Haaland does as well. For City, if he scores the goals, that they missed with Aguero, he got away with it last year. I thought times, but he really missed Aguero. But if he scores the goals that they think he's going to score, City will be a really hard side to stop. But if there's one team who can stop them, it's Liverpool. Can stop them winning the league.
That is
the only
really.
one. Yeah, it is, Trish, yeah.
Yeah, that is the big one. It's difficult to say whether they've improved or not until you see them. I mean, they do. Núñez does offer a different dimension from Sadio Mane, but whether he's a step forward is a difficult one, because Mane's been class, and I think it'd be a big loss. I love Mane, but I think it's best for everyone. He's well known for going on strike when he doesn't want to play for when he's decided he wants to move.
Yeah.
So when that happens, just let him go. Simple as that.
Yeah. He had to go. Yeah, he had to go. If he wants to go, let him go. It's no use having a player who doesn't want to be there playing for you. Whether it's a star like Mane or, you know, a really poor player. If you don't want to be at the club, don't play them.
Yeah,
just let them go.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
So, should we move on to the other title challenger, Manchester City?
Manchester City
Right.
look strong, don't they? I don't think Sterling's going to be that much of a miss to them. I'll be honest with you. Go on, Tess.
I was going to say the outs are Sterling, Jesus, Porro, young right back, who never played for them. Itakura never really played for them. Fernandinho, he was finished anyway. Though I do wonder who will replace his ability to decapitate people without picking up a foul.
Phillips.
Yeah, possibly. Machino's gone, Stefan's gone, and Diego Rossi. I mean, they've lost a bunch of fringe players. Jesus, who was nowhere near good enough, and Sterling, who Guardiola never wanted in the first place. So they've not really lost anything. And they
Zinchenko, it looks like
they've
lost.
He's going to go, yeah. And it looks like Bernardo Silva, because Bernardo Silva's been asking to go for like 2 years, so you know, it looks like he'll be going.
He'll be a loss for them, though.
I think he's the one that'll be a loss.
He's produced for them all the time, and
brilliant player.
You know, he'll be a loss for them. Yeah, horrible little thing, but very good player. And now the lad they're getting, that they're going in for Cucurella. If he comes, he'll be a plus for them. Haaland is definitely going to be a plus for them unless he gets injured. But I think they've bought okay, and I think they're the team to beat. You know, as much as I rate Liverpool, I think Man City is still the team to beat, and they're going to be 1 or 2. That's absolute cert. They went through a couple of bad patches last year where they got away with things they did against Everton, where the penalty that they got that should have had against them actually decided where the league title went, and things like that can happen. But I don't think they were as good as they were the year before. But that might just be me. I thought they got away with a few dodgy. Yeah, they did, yeah. And I think Haaland could do that.
Yeah, it looks like they got the refresh they needed.
Yeah.
So they should be. It's only a case of whether they're first or second, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I think whoever finishes above Man City wins the league, and it can only really be Liverpool who finish above them. They're the only chance that the rest of the league's got. Is Liverpool.
Yeah. Sadly.
But City are a good outfit. They're good to watch, actually, and I do like Pep. I respect him as a manager. He's a good manager. How long he'll actually stay is another thing. I know he signed a new contract, but whether you see that out, I don't know. But I think he's pivotal to them at the moment. Them being a good side, as good as they are, and I can't see who'd take over from him if he did go. But that's the only thing that would stop them being title challengers, major title challengers, would be if Pep went.
Will he go? Is the question. I mean, when you look at what they brought in, Erling Haaland makes a big difference up front, changes their dynamic. Yeah. Calvin Phillips, I with a team like
I'm not his biggest fan, to be honest with you. I think he's slow. I think he's too slow. I think he's rash at times. A bit like Fernandinho, to be honest with you. I think he's a perfect foil for Fernandinho, because Calvin Phillips is not, I don't think, the greatest player. He is a bit rash at times. I think he's a bit slow. I don't think he's a great ball player. He wouldn't be my ideal man to replace Fernandinho for me, but he's got quality. He's got some qualities, but not good enough for Man City. But that's just my opinion. He might do well, but he's not my ideal. He wouldn't be my ideal replacement for someone like Fernandinho.
With a team like they've got, everyone's going to be so busy watching Kevin De Bruyne. Anyway, so everyone's marking him out. They're so busy
Yeah.
watching him and marking him out that it doesn't matter that a player's not that good in midfield alongside him. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Gundogan, but he's been excellent for them purely because, like, he's given plenty of time and space because everyone's chasing. Everyone's so busy focused on Kevin De Bruyne, they forget about him.
But you know what you're saying before about Bernardo Silva? If he went, he'd be a massive loss to them. He really would.
One. I don't think Zinchenko will be a loss. He rarely played. Decent player, but Cancelo's more than good enough cover. Just a shame to waste him on the left when he's so good on the right.
What a player! What a player he
is. They still need a left back, which I think there's who's it there after? Cucurella, obviously. That's it.
Yeah, Cucurella.
If they get him, I think that makes them massive favourites because I think he's brilliant.
Yeah.
I think he's a fabulous player. And
yeah, he's definitely a good player.
Perfect left back for them. He'd be absolutely sensational on the Pep side, and yeah, for me that would make the difference.
There's no doubt about it. They're a good side, aren't they? They're a good side, and they are the team to beat, aren't they? As much as Liverpool are, they're still the team to beat.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I still think it's going to be close. There won't be much in it. No quarter asked and none given, I'd imagine. And I think, Klopp's such a good manager, a good man manager, that if he can get the best out of his players, which I'm sure he will, I think it's going to be as close a race as what it was last year.
Yeah, that's the thing. But City get Cucurella and that. But then again, it is the loss of Bernardo Silva could make all the difference because that's a huge amount of creativity and work they're losing, and I don't see that they've got a replacement for him left in their squad. Not like when David Silva went and they had Bernardo Silva there. I don't see a player to replace him. Yeah, I think
I thought he got away with having Jesus last year as well, and he scored quite a few goals. But I think they got away with having him, in the side. I don't think he's good enough to be in the Man City side. No. But I think they done well getting what they got for him, which is what, 50 million, something like that.
Yeah.
And he was only a bit part player anyway, wasn't he? He wasn't like first choice all the time. But I think that they're as strong as they're going. Especially if you get Cucurella, they'll be definitely one of the title contenders.
Yeah, I think they're going to be looking to either Grealish or Foden to step in and take the Bernardo Silva role myself, and I don't think either of them are quite there. I don't know why. I'm not sure about this.
Well,
Phil Foden.
I like Foden.
I think he's a very good player, but he's miles off what people think he is. He's potentially brilliant, but he's not actually brilliant, is what I would say.
Yeah, that's a fair point, yeah. He's got all the attributes to become a really good footballer. Whether he's got the temperament, because he's a bit of a dickhead, to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly.
In his personal life, he is a bit of a dickhead. And, but it doesn't mean it'll stop him becoming a really good player, because he's got all the attributes to become a good player. It's just how well he handles it and how he handles the fame. And up to now, he's not doing that great a job of it for me. But he is a very, very talented young man for me.
Yeah, he's potential. I think the other thing they've missed is not getting rid of Ake. I think they could have done with just getting rid of him and taking the money instead.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not a Manchester City player.
Nowhere near good enough.
Very poor.
Yeah, and to offload him to Chelsea and weaken them at the same time, well, it's a win-win. But,
absolutely, it is.
I still think, even if they buy Cucurella, I mean, they still need another. It's one left back. They could probably do with two, couldn't they? Really. I know Cancelo can cover there, but it's such a waste having the best right back at the club playing on the left when he's so good on the right.
He's quality, absolute quality.
But yeah, it's just a case of whether they come
Now,
first or second, isn't it? So
yeah, absolutely, Chris. That's the only question. First or second.
Yeah, there's no real, nothing really exciting to talk about with them.
No.
Unlike the other side of Manchester, who, I mean, what they've brought in so far, they've brought in Lisandro Martinez, Cyril Malaysia, no idea what he's like. I've never seen him play. But, Christian Eriksen on a free, and then they've let go Andres Pereira, Paul Pogba, Nemanja Matic, and Dean Henderson's gone out on loan. Lingard's left on a free, Cavani's left on a free, Mata's left on a free, and Lee Grant's retired. So, it's quite a big change of quite a big turnover, but nothing like what they should be doing. They've got a lot they need to get rid of still, and a lot they need to bring in. They just... to be honest with you,
I thought they'd be doing more in the transfer market, even up to now, than what Ten Hag's doing. I think he's missed out on a couple of players as well, but he doesn't actually fill me with confidence that he's going to change Man United around at the moment. The players he's looking at, and I think Ronaldo's going to still be an issue. I think there's issues there with him, who is potentially their best player. Scoring goals, create goals, and if he does go, that's a massive loss to Manchester United, because they haven't got anyone to come in and replace him. And I can't see Man United being challengers for the top four, personally. You say about Pogba. Pogba was a quality player. Attitude problem, definitely. But as quality of a player goes, he's up there. He's right up there. And they haven't replaced him, unless you say Martinez has replaced him. But I can't see anyone who's United have brought in who you could say he's going to make them a better side. I think they're going to... Yeah.
They don't look a better side at all, do they?
No, they don't, Tris, no. They haven't done enough in the transfer market. I know they would have to Delight. They would have to a couple of others who turn them down. But I can't see where they're going. Yeah, De Jong, that was the big one, yeah.
I don't get that at all. I don't get the feel about him. He's not a bad player, don't get me wrong. He's not crap or anything. But he's not worth this. I mean, I can see much better players. I'd rather have gone for that Mateus Nunes, rather than him. Personally, I think he's better suited to the Premier League. I'm not sure De Jong is the right player for the Premier League. But
no, maybe not.
Yeah, no.
Not a lot of Dutch do well. They don't.
Yeah, but he's not got the physicality for the Premier League. If you see what I mean. It reminds me of the guy that they loaned you last season, whose name escapes me.
Johnny Van der Beek.
Yeah, he's not
very wishy-washy.
Yeah, he's not got that little something extra that you need. He's not with the physical power and pace, or he's not that special standout player. He's very good at what he does, but he's not good enough to take it to the
next level. Yeah, you're right, Chris. Absolutely.
Yeah, it wasn't delete. Seamus is right. He's just said he put out on Discord that they weren't after delete. It was. He went to Bay and it was.
It was De Jong, yes.
Yeah, it is De Jong you were thinking of.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, not De. Yeah, you're right. But they've got a lot of players who they need to get rid of as well.
That was it. Timber. He just mentioned it. Timber was the one who rejected them.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, Julian Timber.
Yeah, they've got players they need to get rid of as well, don't they? The other lads come back, but he's got to change his attitude there. The centre forward, what's his name?
Martial.
He can be a quality player, but he hasn't got the attitude to actually stay in the side and work his socks off. He always looks to be lazy to me, although he's a very, very talented guy. But as with a lot of Man United players, they don't live up to the hype. The Harry Maguires and these players, who are supposed to, cost a fortune. And they're not good enough. And that's what Man United have got to get rid of.
They're very poor scouting. I mean, even now, the players they're buying, they're just ones that he already knows. No, ones he's worked with before. They're not actually looking for players to suit Man United. They're looking for players that Ten Hag knows. It's a very odd. It's that to me. That's worrying for me.
Yeah.
So they haven't replaced. They haven't brought in anyone in midfield to really take charge of midfield because Martinez is the centre back for them. For Ten Hag, I mean, and they don't have they need someone to replace Cavani and Ronaldo because they're both, looks like Ronaldo's gone anyway. If they can find someone to take him, obviously. And they need someone to replace him. They desperately need someone to replace him. But the midfield, their midfield's awful. There's a real lack of quality in there. Fred. Whether Ten Hag can sort it out, don't know whether he's got the ability to coach improvement. I mean, he did all right at Ajax with that, but this is a different level we're talking about. Man United don't want to be winning the Eredivisie. They want to be challenging for the Premier League, and it's a lot harder job, a lot tougher league, and they need to be competing in Europe as well. And every year, whereas Ajax, hit and miss. They might have a good year now, and then they'll have a bad year a year later. They can't do that when you're Man United. You need to be doing it you need to be good every year. And
the weight of expectation is massive, isn't it, Manchester United?
Seamus is saying that when Ranić mentioned Nkunku to the Man United scouting department, they'd never even heard of him. This is the player I can't go a lot about, so it's not like he's unknown. So it's hard to believe that's true. But but if it was anybody but Man United, you'd say, don't be soft. Of course they know about him, but when it's Man United, you do think that's the kind of shambolic level they're at. They've been awful, haven't they?
It's a massive rebuilding job for United, I think, Tris. This isn't an easy fix. They're not going to fix it by getting rid of a few players and bringing a few players in. That's just getting them back to the status quo, what they're at now. They need to improve. They need to get rid of the worst players and replace them with better players. And they're not doing that as far as I can see. And I think they're going to struggle again to challenge for the top 4 or top 6. I think they're going to struggle.
My worry for them is that he's already said that Harry Maguire's going to stay as captain. I think that's a very strange decision. And I know you might come in and say, I don't want to upset the dressing room, but it's a clean broom sweeps out cobwebs, if you see what I mean. You know what I mean? And that's what they needed. They needed they needed the cobwebs brushing away, and leaving him as captain, I don't think does that, and I think that's something that they really needed to think on. And I'm not sure Eriksen is a signing that makes sense for them. I don't see how he fits in their system at all.
I don't think he's going to play every game. I think he's going to be more of a squad player, Christian Eriksen. I think he's a decent squad player. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a decent squad player, but I think he might have been suited more at a bit of a lower level club with expectations.
Should have stayed at Brentford for me. They gave.
Would have been okay for him.
Why move? Just show a bit of gratitude. It just seems a bit ungrateful. I understand he's going to say it's a great chance, but it's not really. It's not like it's United under Ferguson when they were dominating and winning things, and you go to win things. This is a team in disarray in the middle of a rebuild. I don't see how this is a great opportunity for him. I don't see how it's for him. At a personal level like that. I don't think he's got. I just think it doesn't make sense for him or the club. For me, I think they could have done. They could have been. They could have put that money to better use. For me, But
Yeah.
it's not that he's a bad player. I just don't think he's good enough to take. He just doesn't
Yeah.
move them forward for me.
No.
I do have worries about Man U, where their scouting just seems to consist of buying every single one of them players that he's worked with before, Ten Hag, or that he knows. So it's clear.
As Seamus has just said, they lack leaders on the pitch, don't they?
Yeah.
Someone going to take the bull by the horns, a Roy Keane or Michael Carrick, someone like that who would actually, make the players around him play. They haven't got no one who they can actually look up to and say, he was for. I don't think they've got that many of them type of players, and
For
look for
me-
them in the.
For me, that would have been the only reason I would say signing Ericsson made sense. Is because after what he's gone through, to put him in as captain, as a leader, that might have been the impetus. You know what I mean? That might have made a difference
Yeah.
to have him in the squad.
Yeah.
As a leader, because of what he's gone through, people are going to respond to him and they're going to want to play for him. His teammates are going to want to win.
Yeah.
That, I think, that would have been a sensible move. Just to stick Slabhead. I mean, it just makes no sense. He's not a good player. He's not a good captain. He's not. I don't see what he offers them that's of any value, to be honest. Certainly not £85 million worth of value.
No. And, you want your captain to be one of your better players, don't you? If not the best player. Someone that everyone looks up to. I don't think everyone's looking up to him and saying, he's our captain.
I don't think it needs to be a better player, like I was saying with Christian. I don't think he's one of their better players. I just think it's he's got that inspirational kind of thing. Yeah, Seamus is right. Comedic relief is what Harry Maguire offers. He's quite right there. But someone like Ericsson's inspiring because of what he's gone through, and that, and you'd want to play for him. You'd want to, he'd inspire you to want to try and play and win.
Yeah.
Maguire just, you just think, oh, fuck off, you knob. You know what I mean? Every time he speaks, you just think, oh, God, it's embarrassing. He's got nothing about him that makes you want to be, you know what I mean? Makes you want to, follow him and try for him. He just isn't. It's just not.
No,
it doesn't make sense to me to keep him there.
Where do you see them finishing, Chris? Where do you see them finishing United?
Oh, I can see them struggling to, not because of Ten Hag either. I don't think he's the issue. I think he's a very good choice, possibly the best choice they could have made for the situation they're in. But I just can't see how he can turn this around in one season. Not without he needed to make 7-8 signings to actually turn it around.
Yeah.
There's no way they're going to get them players in.
I'm saying sixth the best.
Yeah,
sixth the best for them. Along with West Ham, that sort of.
They're battling.
I mean?
They're battling for, just to get into Europe, basically. For me, that's where they're at.
Yeah.
I think they could well do it because of the fact that they could go out and spend some more in January, and that could, get the boost in the squad that they need.
Yeah.
I think that could be the difference. But yeah, you can't see them being any more than, for them, you can't see them doing any more than struggle. They're just not, you just look at them and they just lack the quality to really push up the table at the moment. And, they're reliant very much on the manager to build it. And I think he can do that given time, but I don't think it's something he can do in one season. Because he needs to get rid of a lot of these players just aren't good enough. Rather than, you know what I mean, it doesn't matter what he does, doesn't matter how well he coaches them. I just don't think they're good enough. And no matter how much he'd have to improve them by a monstrous amount to get to make them good enough. And that's the issue he's got. I think he's a brave man taking on the job. I don't care how much money he's got. It's it could be a career ender. This, if it could, because it could go horribly wrong, and it could be, with it. He was sought after by the biggest names. People like Barcelona and Real Madrid looked at him every time every time they had a vacancy, he was under consideration. This, going to Man United could end that. This could be his one and only big chance at a big job, and he's taken the Man United one in. So when they're in such a mess, I think it's a very brave decision of him. Very brave.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right.
Right, who's next, Chris?
And next we move on to Newcastle United, of course, Saudi Arabia FC.
Yeah.
They've even got the kit. They've even got the kit. Their away kit, so definitely Saudi Arabia. Right, for them, out. I mean, they've lost Woodman. No big loss, just a backup keeper. Hayden, Hendrick and Clark have gone out on loan. Again, I don't know. I mean, Clark wasn't even in the squad for the second half of the season, so no loss. And they brought in Botman, Target, who was already there, so he just made his loan permanent. And Nick Pope is a bizarre one for me. I don't understand that. Is he any better than the keeper they had? I don't see him as better.
No, he isn't.
Yeah, I don't get that one.
I think they might spend a bit late. I think they might come in for Calvert-Lewin. They might go for Ivan Toney. I think they need a centre forward
from Leeds. They're interested in. They've shown interest in Broja. Obviously, Gordon still. Maybe they'll sign him. They're supposed to be interested in Alexander Isaac, but yeah.
They've got the money to do it, though, haven't they? They have got the wherewithal to do it, and I think they will come late and sign a few players. Whether it's going to improve them that much, I don't know. I think it's a long-term plan, Newcastle. I think maybe in a few years they might get better. I don't think they will under Eddie Howe.
Yeah,
I don't rate Eddie Howe. I think they should have went for a bigger name, someone with more experience, someone who's won things. Eddie Howe will not stay there for that much time unless he improves them, which I don't think he will. And as much as he's a nice guy, Eddie Howe, nice guy, he's not the greatest manager, and I think he'll end up being replaced. How soon? I'm guessing. But I think they will buy a few players, and I think they're on the way up because of the money they've got. If you've got that sort of money, you're going to be on the way up. It's how wisely it's spent. And as I say, I think a new manager is going to be pivotal to them progressing. And I think that might come sooner than people think.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? They need to keep spending, though, to step forward, and you don't see any reason why they wouldn't, to be honest. They will do. They're going to keep spending, and they're going to keep moving forward. Yeah, they do need to get rid of Eddie Howe and move on from him, but that's their major weaknesses. Attracting players is difficult for them. No matter how much money you got, to get that top end player with Eddie Howe in charge, he's not really a big draw.
You need a bigger name, Chris.
It's not necessarily a bigger name. You need a better name. A manager that players want to play for. Eddie Howe's not inspiring. He doesn't have the. You look at his record and you just think, it's not good, is it? You know what I mean? He doesn't inspire confidence in you if you're a player looking at whether they're going to do well. His record doesn't inspire confidence at all. So you'd be looking at.
Maybe that's why they haven't spent big, because a new man who's coming in will want his own players. That could be a factor.
I think a lot of it's more. I think a lot of it's more down to the fact that they just simply can't attract the players they want, and Howe is part of the problem. I think personally they'd intended to replace Howe in the summer. But because he did so well. Because he did surprisingly well, I've got to say. He did better than I expected.
He did too, yeah.
A lot better than I expected them to do.
You can't fault him what he's done there.
Exactly. Yeah, he's done. I think they've just thought, shit, we're going to have to give him, we've got to stick with him. I think he'd only been brought in to save them from relegation, and that was it. And now they're kind of in a position where they're going to have to back him and stick with him for now, because the fans want him. You know what I mean? He's got the fans on side, and yeah, you got to give them you got to give them time, and I think that's the issue they've got now because they're struggling to spend the money they've got. I think they'll need to change him to move forward, but
But as you say, give him credit for what he does, don't you?
Yeah,
Who
exactly.
could have come on and done a better job than him? Not many. His results proved himself. And as you say, he's hard to sack at the moment because
Yeah, you can't sack him at the moment.
he done very well. Kudos to the guy. He done really well. So,
Yeah.
He's not up for sacking at the moment. Things might change, though. Things might change, and it can change very quickly in football.
The moment he hits a bad run, I think he'll be out the door.
Yeah. Did he stick with him when he hits a bad run? I don't know.
Like I said, I think he was only ever seen as a short-term interim option, and he's made himself the choice because of the way he played. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
They don't really. They need to do. They really need to make a step forward, and is he capable of doing it? He's never shown that level. He never showed that level at Bournemouth. He seemed to, and I don't see the signings he's making as taking the club forward. To be honest, I mean, Matt Target is converting a loan to a permanent deal. It's not a step forward. That's just staying the same. Nick Pope, I don't think he's as good as Dubravka personally, so it's not a step forward.
No, for like that.
Sven Botman, well, that's the only one I'd say is a potential, and I'm not sure. I've not seen enough of him to judge him, so I can't say whether he is or not an improvement. But I
like the other lad they brought in at the back end of last year. What was his name? The under the G.
Oh, Guimaraes, Bruno.
Guimaraes,
fantastic player.
He's a player. He
was the signing that's made a difference, and they need.
He's a quality player.
But they need more signings of that kind of player, that kind of quality, and I just don't see that they've signed anybody else at that level. They do need to. That's the level they need to be getting, and I don't see that happening at the moment. But maybe it will do in time. They can persuade a few others.
If they keep on track, I think possible top half. 8th, 9th aspirations, maybe on the fringe of Europa. Well, good luck to them. I think they've got a quality fan base, and they've got owners with money. There's no reason why they can't move forward. So maybe they could be a little bit of a surprise package next year.
Is that a surprise? When you consider the money they've got, is it really a surprise that if they do well?
No, not a surprise in that way. Surprise to what they were 6 months ago when they were looking like relegation fodder in the Premiership. They've moved up and obviously improved. And, the improvements there for all to see. And they've got to go along that track, and maybe they'll improve more. Good luck to them.
Yeah, I think the ones that are a surprise is Nottingham Forest. I mean, from bottom of the Championship when Steve Cooper took charge without a win, to get him promotion. I mean, that's a miracle he's achieved. And then this summer, everyone thought they'd be bringing in. He had a lot of loan players, and he doesn't seem to have brought any. He doesn't seem to have moved for any of them. Brought them in. He seems to have let them go elsewhere. They've lost. Their goalkeeper is gone. Surprise. They've lost Figueiredo, one of the defenders, but he wasn't really playing. Panzo's gone out on loan. Horvath, the goalkeeper's gone out on loan. Aguilera, they just signed and loaned him straight back for the rest of till winter. Lewis Graben's left, their club captain. Carl Jenkinson, who never played and was crap anyway, always injured, gone. Gaiton Bong, another one, wasn't very good, gone. And they brought in, the signings, that's a shock. Nobody expected them to spend like this. They brought in Owiniyi, the ex-Liverpool lad, who looks like he's got something about him. Whether he's good enough to score the goals in the Prem will be the worry. Nico Williams, I think, is a good signing. Very good attacking right back there. He can play multiple positions as well. Niakate looks a decent defender. Banconi looks a decent defender as well. Omar Richards, he looks a good signing from Bayern Munich. And haven't they got, is it Chris Richards as well? No, that's going elsewhere. Who's the other one that they're about to sign? I've forgotten who it is. God, they're in for Jesse Lingard, isn't it? And Emmanuel
Yeah, that's
Dennis,
right. Lingard's
that's it.
going.
Yeah, it looks really
there,
good,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, they brought in O'Brien and Toffolo from Huddersfield. Hennessy is a backup keeper as well, and obviously Henderson has obviously taken over as first choice. I mean, they look to have made massive strides forward. You've got to say, they've completely turned it around.
I think they could be a bit of a surprise package. Then, not that they're going to get anywhere near the top, but I think they've got a great chance of survival in the Premiership.
Yeah,
they look.
That's what I mean. The surprise package is that they're the team that look, of the three that got promoted, they're the team that look most likely to survive.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
you wouldn't have expected that when it happened.
Because the job Cooper did was fantastic. There's no other word for it, is there? What a surprise package they come out. They looked as though they were going back down to one. Their League One. And they play good stuff as well. What I've seen of them, and I'm very happy to know they're a big club, and I made up for them to be coming up. They're clubs you want in the Premiership, then, not Forest.
Yeah, well, I don't care who comes. I think any team that makes it deserves it. It doesn't really. To me, I don't see this a big clubs as.
I like a bit of history. I do like a bit of history.
But I quite like when I also like when a little club that's been nowhere, has a miracle run. Like what I mean. It's only a small club in size of fan base, etc. I think it's nice when one of them makes it up there as well. I quite like I think it's a bit of a fairy tale then as well. There's a.
Yeah, I like the Brentford stuff. I like all that. I do like a bit of history, double your European Cup winners to go back, to go down and then come up again, resurgent, the phoenix from the ashes. I like all that story, I do like that.
Yeah, I can see. I'm just saying, there's a bit for both sides.
Yeah.
So I don't mind who comes up and that. Like I can always find something to of interest in whoever they are. Like there's always something. But I do think these are the ones they've got a good coach. Their head coach is a coach. He is a proper coach. He is a very good coach,
right.
And that for me is a huge difference. Only Swansea had backed him the way Forest have. But they must be big sick looking at this because they wouldn't. They were just selling his players out from under him and not backing him. And now they look at him, must be thinking, God, why did we do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They must really regret it. And it was a huge mistake because he's clearly an excellent coach. He's done well.
Yeah, absolutely. And good luck to him. I hope he does well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't see them doing anything. I can't see them doing anything as in lucking into a European place or anything. I don't think they've quite done that much good business. They got, they had a long way to come from the team they have. But I do think they've done enough to avoid relegation. And if they add someone like Emmanuel Dennis, my worry is the Lingard thing. I think that's a mistake. I really do. I don't know.
I think it could be a good signing for them. But I think when he went away at West Ham, he was good. He was a lot better than he was at Man United.
Yeah, but he only played well for about a month. And then he was out injured, and then he's lost form. And he's never, ever, ever in his career had a sustained run of good form. Never. He's always been really inconsistent. He's always been in and out. And you always hear the commentators talking about young Jesse Lingard, and it's like, even when he's 29 or whatever he is now, and they still talk about him as if he's like an 18-year-old. And they still make allowances for him like he's a kid, and he's not. And he's just, at 29 or whatever he is. I'm sure he's 29, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he is 29.
I'm going to have to look it up to check. 29, yeah.
I think 29,
you should be able to look back at a record and say, yeah, he's got it, or not. and he's never once showed
Yeah.
any sustained run of form. He had a good patch he's had good patches in his United career, but then he's always lost his way straight afterwards. And then he had a good patch at West Ham, and then picked up injuries, lost form, didn't play well, and then he went back to Man United and didn't play at all. I just no, I think it's a mistake.
I think on a free, I think on a free he's a good signing. I think he's on free he's a good signing for Forest, and he bring a bit of
I think they use the money better.
Experience, and I think he'll do okay. I think he'll do okay, Jason.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and I can see why they want him, but I think it's a bit of a disaster waiting to happen personally.
Okay.
I think he's one of those players that, I don't think, a lot of people don't like him. Oh, it's been completed now.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know that, because we've been doing this, so it must have been done while we were doing it. It must have been completed while we were doing this. But yeah, I just, like I said, it's just this inconsistency. At 29 years old, you should be able to look at a good few years of consistent form, good form. And he's never had that. And I know he's had a tough life. There's reasons and there's excuses to be made for him, but you need to be sure. For me, this is his last chance to actually prove he really is a player.
Yeah, it is last chance saloon, for him, yes.
I think that's a mistake. A player coming in on last chance shouldn't be coming in as your biggest paid player. It's that simple. Because if he doesn't get off to a great start, then it unsettles the squad.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think it's a very brave decision to go for him. Very brave. And I understand why they did. It makes sense from a player, if you just look at it, a cheap player that's got pace. He offers goals, creativity. He looks, on the paper, it's a great signing, but yeah, I still have worries about it myself.
Okay.
I can see why
Who's next, mate?
Good signing, but I think he needed to go to a different side. But maybe this could be the making of him, having it, because he'll be the experienced head, the leader in the squad, and maybe that's what he needs. Maybe he needs a bit of responsibility.
I think he needed to get away from Man United.
Oh, definitely.
I really do.
But maybe
he went
the
stale.
responsibility. The responsibility to be a team leader. Maybe that's what he needs to make him into the player he needs to be. He should have been. All right, we'll move on to Southampton now then. And they've brought in Basil from Man City, the young goalkeeper, young forward from Bordeaux, Sekou Mara, another youngster, another youngster from Man City, the most expensive teenager they've ever bought, over 10 million for Romeo Lavia, the midfielder. And they brought in a young centre-back from Bochum, Armel Bella Kotchap, and Joe Aribo from Rangers, and a free transfer Polish keeper from Turkish football. And they've lost Fraser Forster, good riddance, he's shit keeper. I don't know why Spurs have signed him. He's crap. It's one of the worst keepers I've ever seen, abysmal keeper. Shane Long, another abysmal player, good riddance. Works hard, but he's shit, let's be honest. I mean, that's being nice about him. He is shit. He's not a Premier League player. I can't believe he's signed for the Championship team, because he's not good enough. Yeah, he works hard, but he's a terrible player. Harry Lewis has gone as well, a keeper, another backup keeper wasn't. And they've let Dan and Lundu go back out on loan again to Cheltenham. So not really anything big. No outs of importance. They've not weakened the squad. But they've still got Ralph Hasenhuttl in charge. He'll still pick Nathan Redmond in 18 different positions, and none of the players will know what they're doing. It's still going to be shambolic, and he'll still be drawing names out of a hat to what position they're playing. You know what I mean? It's just... He's
the problem, isn't he, with Southampton? It's Hasenhuttl. He's just not a good manager, is he? He's a come day, go day. You don't know what he's going to do next. He's got no style and no no, he hasn't got a plan. He's got nothing. And they do play some decent stuff at times, but they're so inconsistent. I think he's a terrible manager. I wouldn't want him anywhere near my club.
They were calling him the Alpine Clock, but because he played a pressing system, but that was more the team wanted him to play that system. When he's taken over at Southampton, and he's been able to do his own thing, I mean, there's no real. You can't tell what they're trying to do. You can't tell who's meant to be playing where half the time, and none of them seem to be playing in their natural positions or anything. He just seems to put players anywhere he wants.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's still in the job. I really don't.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Strange.
Yeah, and they spent fairly big this summer, so he needs to get it right because they can't keep.
Yeah.
They can't keep backing him when he's losing 7-0 every season.
He could be one of the first casualties for me, Ralph Hasenhüttl.
Yeah, he has to be on the verge of the sacking. Has to be.
Yeah, he's right up there. But as you say, they've invested money in him. They're backing him up to now. Things change in football. If they get a really bad run of results, he's got to go. And then they're looking to replace him. And who with? I don't know. But, Southampton, I think they're a pretty rich club, aren't they? They've got money. They've certainly got money. But,
have they?
Yeah, I think they have got money, Tris. I would think the owners have got money. But they are another one who could be drawn into the relegation for me.
I think 100% they're in a relegation battle with Everton, Bournemouth and Fulham.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. Because unless they get off to a good start, it's going to be hard for them to get back because they haven't got the players. Who's the lad who plays in midfield that everyone's after?
Ward-Prowse, I don't get that.
And he's not that great a player.
No, he's a great free kick taker, but he's not a great midfielder. That's the thing.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm saying, yeah. But I think they could be in a bit of trouble this year unless they get off to a really fast start and pick up some points early. I think they're going to be in the mire, as you say, with Everton, Fulham and Bournemouth. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's 3 from 4, I think, isn't it, this season?
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. It looks like Forest will just finish ahead of you lot. And, I'm saying as Everton, I'm putting Everton in that bracket, obviously.
Yeah, I'll put them in. I can't argue with them being in that bracket unless things change, which they may do. Do you want me?
No, I don't want you, Bill. Sorry to disappoint you, but
Me missus wants me, that's it.
Yeah. Oh, you're in trouble. Do we need to hurry up then? We'll shift on quick then. In case if your missus wants you, we better hurry up. We're on to Spurs now anyway. Tottenham Hotspur now. So they brought in Richarlison. I don't understand what he's there for. I don't get that one. Yves Bissouma, Jed Spence, even Perisic looks like a good signing. I don't get the Fraser Forster one. Don't get that at all. He's crap. Langley. I mean, I don't get Clement Langley either. He's on loan. I know it's on loan, but I don't see him as a good player at all. Endon Billy's returned from loan. Lo Celso's back from loan. Brian Hill's back from loan. Papi Mata Sarr even's back from loan. And Alfie Whiteman's back from loan. And they've sold Bergwijn, Cameron Carlton-Vickers to Celtic. Jack Clark's gone to Sunderland, and Galini hasn't. He's just gone back. He was on loan, wasn't he? From Atlanta. But yeah, I mean,
as you say, I don't get the Richarlison signing. Where does he fit in that squad?
And I know
is he going to play before Son?
And Kane could well go yet, because he's still, it's still not 100% he's going to stay. And that could, maybe that's the reason why they bought him to replace Kane. In which case, I can see that it makes sense then. Bissouma looks a good signing. on his day.
Yeah,
if
him
he
eating
plays to
sauces
his
off
level.
field problems off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if he plays to his level, he's a brilliant player on his day. Jed Spence, he's one of those very hit and miss, but he's got great skill, and he could well be a because they needed a right back, and they needed, they needed right wing back and left wing back. He definitely wants to play.
I like the look of him, to be honest.
So him and
Perisic,
him and Perisic could well be good for that, but I don't get the long lay ones, the one that I don't get, and. Much as they've got Bissouma, they really needed another midfielder. Unless he's going to give Ndombele a chance, I don't see it. Or maybe Sarr. Maybe he's going to go with Sarr because they can't have Harry Winks and that other fella. What's his name? You know what I mean, don't you? The other player.
I thought you meant Harry Winks, no?
No, they got another Oliver Skipp. They can't rely on them.
Oh yeah.
Højbjerg's just not a good player. I don't know why people.
No, he's not a player.
But they have got Son, who's fantastic, especially works brilliantly with Kane. That winger Kulusevski's brilliant. I don't know why Juve let him go.
Yeah, nice player. Nice player.
Brilliant player. And Christian Romero's a player as well, the defender.
Yeah.
And they did need right back and left back as centre back. Though I'm not sure the centre back was the right one that they brought in. But yeah, they clearly strengthened. But whether it's enough to do any more than chase top three, I don't see. I don't see them as any more than top three. Basically, it's whether they come third, fourth, or fifth. I don't see them finishing any lower than fifth unless Conte has an absolute implosion. I think
goes. Yeah.
Yeah, or quit.
I think it depends on Conte. Their season depends on Conte for me.
Yeah.
Whether he stays or goes.
Exactly what I was thinking. Very good. He's a very good manager. He's a winner.
Yeah, he is a winner. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the difference. I think that's the difference that Spurs haven't had for a long time, and that's what they've needed. Is a winner to take.
But they backed him, haven't they? They have backed him, haven't they? They backed Conte. They've spent a lot of money.
Well, they put 150 million in for signings. Remember, in was it Ian? No, it wasn't Ian. Was it Ian? I can't remember who it was. It put in 150 million invested 150 million to improve the squad. So they had the money there to spend. So why not spend it?
Absolutely.
You're never going to get a better chance in the short term. You're never going to get a better chance than Conte, because there isn't a manager around that offers you that ability to win in the short term that Conte does.
Yeah.
There isn't another one. No one. He might not be the greatest.
I can see them having a very good season.
And he's not going to build you a long-term sustainable platform, but he will give you a chance of winning a title. And I don't think anybody else could do that with them, to be honest, against this Man City and Liverpool sides. I think he's the only one they've got a chance, but I don't think they're quite there yet.
No, they're not there yet, no. But I still expect them to do good things this season. I think they'll be one of the sides to beat, They're going to be a really strong side. And as you say, third looks a definite possibility for them, between them and Chelsea for third.
Yeah.
But, they are a good side. They've got some wonderful players, and I'll be looking forward to watching them this season.
Yeah, the trouble with Conte is he'll play very defensive, back three, and they'll just look to hit on the counter, using the wing backs with pace, getting forward, and they've got the wing backs to do that now. So it's not very entertaining to watch. It can be quite dull and uninspiring football, but it wins things. And what more can you ask of a manager than that? If you're Spurs at the moment, you can. Would you have at the moment? They need to win things. They've got a new stadium coming. They need to fill it with trophies rather than.
Yeah.
What's been happening where they've just failed at the last minute. And the previous ones, if anyone can change that, it's Conte.
Yeah. Good luck to them. Is Wolves our last one, is it, Tris?
No, West Ham first.
Oh, West Ham first. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So first off, Out, Andrei Yarmolenko on a free, Ryan Fredericks on a free, neither of them are a loss. Mark Noble retired, his legs had long gone. David Martin's been released again, he was only a backup keeper. And Alex Kroll's gone back to Spartak Moscow at end of his loan, but he didn't really get into the team, did he? So no loss.
No.
They brought in Agard, a left-sided centre-back. I'm not sure they really needed a centre-back. It's a bit of an odd one when they're desperate for a striker and a left-back and a central midfielder. They brought in a left-sided centre-half first, but, you know, it's David Moyes for you. I think they've done well with Flynn Downs. I think he's a very good signing. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people and be a very good signing for them. Very tenacious. He's a bit like an N'Golo Kante. But obviously,
are they after Brozier as well? Aren't they after Brozier?
Yes, they're trying to sign Brozier, and they've obviously turned Ariola's loan move into a permanent one.
Yeah.
They missed out on Lingard now, but they've been putting their efforts into signing Brozier, so that could be a good one.
I think they're a bit of a steady side, aren't they? You know, under Moyes, like, you know, I'm not as big a fan as you know, but he's done well there, and you know, I think they're going to take points off the top teams as well all year, and I expect them to finish top 6, top 7 possibly. I think they're a really good side. They're strong, they're good defensively, and they're a very strong unit. They really are.
They're being linked with players like Dwight McNeil, though. I don't see how he moves them forwards. I don't really rate him. I'm not convinced to him. Terrier, on the other hand, could be a surprise package. But the one that really would, for me, if they got him, excite me, would be Scamacca, the Italian. I can't see it happening, but I think he'd be a sensational signing for West Ham and really be a difference maker. What they desperately need is a striker. I'm not convinced Brozier is the answer. I'm not convinced he's that good, to be honest, yet. I mean,
no, he hasn't scored that many goals, but he does look at
Southampton, to be fair, but I just think he's not.
Yeah.
I just think he's not ready. He's not ready yet. You know, he's a way off. But for a West Ham, getting regular football, he could make massive strides forward. So maybe it could be the answer. But they need 3 forwards, and that'll only make 2. So they still have space for another one. Which, if they got Scamacca, I think that'll be a great signing for them. That'll make a real difference. They can't keep relying on Antonio on his own.
No, he's a handful himself, isn't he? And can be really frightening to defenders. But he doesn't do it every week, does he? And he gets injured a lot, yeah. But he can be a handful on his day, certainly.
Yeah, he's a good player when he wants to be, but he's not a striker. Let's be honest, he's not a goal scorer. I mean, he has he has a run where he scores a couple of goals, but he doesn't score regular goals. You know what I mean? All time,
Yeah.
He's really not the player you'd want to rely on, and they have been relying on him.
Yeah.
So, that's the one I'd say. I just can't. Where they're going to finish? Upper half. I think they're going to be chasing Europe again, but
I do. Yeah, 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
Squad depth is always going to be their problem. They haven't strengthened enough for me to really put it beyond doubt that they'll get into Europe. So,
yeah, see how that goes.
Yeah, they're a long way off still for me, but of holding it down, actually being definite in a European place. They're just going to be in a fight for it. But you'd expect them to finish in the top half easily.
Yeah.
Right,
our last one, Wolves.
They've lost Vinagre, the left back, never really did it for me, so I don't think he's any loss. Saiz, he was getting on, never really impressed me either. He was too rash. Great passer of the ball, mind, lovely left foot on him. Marcel, they've lost as well, he was always injured anyway. John Reddy, he was just a backup keeper, so not really a loss. Dadashov, gone to grasshoppers. They seem to have everyone going to grasshoppers for some reason. Then Fabio Silva going out on loan was a strange one. He just started to look like he was getting into the league. You know what I mean? Starting to so
because he's done all right.
Hoover's gone out on loan. Louis Molden's gone out on loan. Trincão's gone back to Barcelona, and they've made Huang's loan move into a permanent one. They've signed Nathan Collins. I think is an excellent signing. A real surprise, that one. Unfortunately, they've got Traore back from loan from Barcelona, so they're stuck with him again. Cutrone's back as well, another one they're stuck with. Jordao, well, I wouldn't say they're stuck with him because he's Campagna. I mean, he doesn't seem to be much of a player. Young, Bonatini. You know, I don't know. They
Been busy, haven't they?
Yeah, they don't look to have really. I mean, they brought in a good centre half, and the rest, it doesn't look like they've really moved them forward, does it?
No,
I think Collins is an excellent.
they're a funny side, Wolves. They're a funny side for me. They can look great one week, next week terrible. Too many players like Traore, you know, flatter to deceive, you know, and I think they did be better leaving Traore or getting rid of him. He's just not
offloading.
Proper footballer. Yeah. Can't score goals. He's got pace, but that's it. You might as well have Usain Bolt on your side as Traore. And, you know, although I like them as a club, I don't think they're going to threaten anyone this season, and I don't think they're going to be mediocre. 10th, 11th, 12th, something like that. Can't see them doing much this season.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of them at all. I mean, I think Collins is a brilliant signing, but they haven't really improved anything else. I don't see that they. Well, it depends on if Bruno has the bottle to stand with what he was doing at the start of last season. Yeah. And they really looked like they were starting to come good, but they just weren't getting the results.
Yeah, he got off to a great start.
Yeah, I don't know why, but they weren't. I mean, I know they weren't getting the results, but he was playing some. You know, they were playing some really good stuff. They were just unlucky, and then he just seemed to bottle it, and they never seemed the same since. And yeah, I don't know where they're going to be at. It really comes down to what he does. Is he going to go for it again and actually this time say, you know what, I'm going to stand by what I believe in, and you know, even if the results don't come immediately, we're going to keep going, and we're going to give it a bit longer and keep going until we either make or break it, or will he bottle it again and revert to nothing? Because they need to stand strong. If they do, I think they can be upper half. If they don't, I think they're going to struggle to finish in the top half.
Yeah, I think just below top half for me.
Yeah. I think that's the likeliest. It's the bottom half just. I don't think there'll be a relegation battle, but I don't think.
No chance, no.
But they're not going to be chasing Europe either.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Tris, that's me for the night, mate. I'm going to get dinner now. I'm absolutely starving. Thanks for today, mate. It's been really good. Really enjoyed it. Had a nice little chat there about all the teams and how people who are watching it. Yeah. I shall see you next Thursday, mate.
Take care, mate. See you next Thursday, and to anyone listening.
Yeah. Cheers, boys.
Bye-bye.
Ta-ra now.
Cheers, Bill.